What's up, guys?
On this week's show,
Snyder wanted Batman dead,
a new Bumblebee trailer,
and Dark Phoenix delayed again already?
plus
Dumb shit of the week.
All that and more on this episode
Of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared. And with me are my co-hosts, Benoit.
I'm still trying to get paid.
And DJ Melly-Mel.
Hey!
Okay, so before we get started, I have a special announcement to make. It is finally October, and so now we are officially in the All the Horror event. Now, if you haven't heard me talk about this before, the All the Horror event is going to be a collaboration of dozens of podcasts to produce Halloween-themed content for the entire month of October. So that means 31 days of special episodes dedicated to movies, games, books, and more in the horror genre. We have a few collaborations that we are going to be doing ourselves. Our first is going to be with the Work-Life Imbalance podcast. Now, by the time you hear this, the episode should already be up. For them, they're going to be hosting it, and we're going to be just guesting on it, me and Benoit. We are discussing John Carpenter's The Thing for that particular one. And then after that, we will have a bonus episode for us that we are hosting with Movie Geek and Proud, and we will be discussing Friday the 13th, Part 10, or better known as Jason X. That episode is airing on October 5th, so the day after you hear this, you get another bonus episode from us. Then, on October 19th, we will be a guest on Movie Geek and Proud's podcast doing Friday the 13th, Part 7. And finally, we will air a bonus episode with Two Girls on a Bench, and we're reviewing Evil Dead 2. That episode airs October 26th. If you want to keep up with the episodes that we are guesting on, as well as to discover some new podcasts in the process, make sure you follow at AllTheHorror18 on Twitter. Each day there will be a new pinned tweet for the featured episode for that day to make it even easier for you to keep up with what's going on. So obviously go follow us on Twitter if you're not already at Giant Leap, the number 4 Geeks, and follow at AllTheHorror18, like the numbers 18, on Twitter to make sure that you don't go a single day this month without your daily horror fix. There. That is my spiel about all the horror. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, which actually I'm really excited for this. Like, it's going to be really fun. It's something different that we haven't done before. And so I'm really looking forward to, how this turns out. And I want to get feedback from you guys. Like, if you like stuff like this, like, we will try to do more collaborations as time goes on. Like, we're always... Look, I talk enough to where I'm always willing to go on someone else's podcast.
Don't all of us talk enough that
yeah.
this shouldn't be an issue?
That's
Well, I don't know. Benoit is kind of laid back out of the three of us.
It sounded like at first when we were talking about this behind the scenes, like, oh, okay, it's just a few more, things we can put up. But when you went and explained it there, I got like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Oh, yeah, it's big. It's almost, I think it's like 20 podcasts altogether.
What did I commit to?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Now, our stuff, for the most part, it's pretty much done and out the way. But
that's because we're ahead of the game.
Yeah, we still got one more to finish up, but we are pretty set to go. Like, our episode with Two Girls on the Bench, that one's going to be coming out soon, so it's going to be fun.
I'm excited for that.
That's a pretty big bench, then.
Right. All right, so this week, the very first thing that I wanted to get into were the trailers that came out this week, and god damn it, it never fucking fails. The moment I get the show notes together and I'm all set to go for our episode that we record on Tuesday night, and then a bunch of other shit pops up. So we're not going to talk about the trailer for Sherlock Holmes. We're not going to talk about the trailer for, there was something else that came out this week, and I was like, fucking hell, like, really? Like, give me some time. But the ones that we are going to hit on...
I know Ty and I went to the movies the other night, and I'm like, ooh, that looks like a good movie. Ooh, that looks like a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
That looks... All these damn trailers. And
yeah. Mm-hmm.
No. Like, Mike's going to have to chop the show, like, in half.
Pretty much. It's going to be the trailer episode. But no, the first one we're going to get into is going to be for probably one of my most anticipated movies this year. Now that Infinity War has come out, like that was my most anticipated.
Sure.
But now my second most is Creed 2. Yes. They already had a trailer come out for that, and we talked about that one a few weeks back. But this is the second trailer for this, and I just want to know, because I'm a super big Rocky fan, but from you guys, like Benoit, why don't you go ahead and tell me just what were your thoughts on the Creed 2 trailer?
I actually have not seen the first Creed film. However, I did see the actual first 6 in the Rocky franchise.
Okay.
But it seems to me like, granted, every movie is a sequel of its predecessor.
Sure.
From what I picked up on the trailer, it seems as if this is almost a direct sequel from Rocky 4. Seeing as Creed's going to be taking on Ivan Drago, the son of the man who killed his father in Rocky 4. And that alone has me just hoping at some point we get to hear Living in America.
I knew you were going to say that.
What?
Living in America. Yeah.
It instantly made me think of James Brown. And you got to give Stallone credit where credit is due. This franchise is one of the longest, if not the longest running franchises of movies in cinematic history. This dates back 42 years ago. Rocky came out in 1976. And he is still reprising his role to help bring a new generation of actors, Michael B. Jordan, into the limelight. Mind you, a lot of you probably saw him and he got like his real big, Creed was good from what I heard. I haven't seen it myself. But when you think of Michael B. Jordan, you think of Black Panther.
Yeah.
So this guy is just hitting box office, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And it got me wanting to watch the first Creed.
You should.
Before I go in. Because there's a good chance I'm going to go to the theater and see this.
Oh, yeah. No,
and
you
I
should
don't
definitely
get
check
out
out
my
the first
ass and pay to see movies all that often. But I want to see this.
Oh yeah. I'm here. I'll get to it.
We should figure out a day where the 3 of us can go together.
Yeah. No, because I'm definitely gonna want to go see this in theaters.
Oh, I'm for sure seeing this in theaters.
But
I saw Creed, the first Creed, in theaters.
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it once it was on Netflix, or we might have got it on DVD, but I didn't see the first one in theaters.
Oh no, I went and saw that opening night
because I was kind of apprehensive about it. Because to be honest, after Rocky Balboa, that one kind of redeemed the Rocky franchise for me. But Rocky, he kind of.
Rocky Balboa was the worst one.
No, I actually like that one.
No,
I actually really like that.
Rocky 5 was the worst one.
What?
Oh shit! Here you go.
How the hell do you not like Rocky 5?
Wait, the one where
Tommy
he
Gunn?
has the street fight at the end? That is bullshit, man. That
Oh
movie.
my
God.
Initially, I can't
in
be
that
friends
film
with
was
you
original.
people.
You know what? How about we put it like this? I wish Rocky would have died at the end of the fifth film, like it was planned to be.
Yeah. And originally, he was supposed to die.
Oh my god.
But no, I the reason I don't like Rocky 5 is because it doesn't feel like a Rocky movie. It just feels like a movie with Rocky in it. Because up till that point, it was his story, and then they kind of just shifted gears by the fifth movie, and it's like, no, this movie's about Tommy, and I don't know, like the guy who played Tommy in the movie, I didn't think he was a very good actor. Was he an actual boxer in real life?
No, he was an actual boxer.
He was just a wannabe.
No, he was a real boxer.
Was he really? Okay, yeah, because I'm like, he was not a good actor, and I'm like, I feel like you're an athlete that they just kind of stuck in this part, and it was like, yeah, we'll teach him how to act, and it's like,
no, that doesn't work.
But as far as this trailer goes, what did you feel about it, Mel?
I am super excited. I like that it's not quite a sequel to Rocky 4, but more of a round 2, the fight that we never got to see.
Okay.
Well, because
Apollo dies.
Apollo dies, so
Sure.
you never get to see what become of him after the Russian fight with Drago. And so now that his son is here, he's like, I'm here and I'm back to avenge my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that's sweet. And even though that's not quite how it's going to play out in the movie, just based off what I've seen in the trailer.
Sure.
And I think his mom even says, don't pretend like this is about your dad.
Oh, yeah.
I just...
Well, Claire Huxtable has to put her foot down after Bill Cosby.
Right.
I just think that it's gonna be exciting to see, and it's cool to see that the Drago character come back. The original Drago, you see a clip of him. He looks rough as hell.
Yeah, he looked like he done been through some fucking shit.
I mean, it's cool that they've got him coming back and that he's somewhat more or less in the corner of his son, from what you could tell.
Yeah, he's his trainer this time.
He's not the only one coming back. Bridget Nielsen is actually going to reprise her role as well as Ivan Drago's father. I'm stuck on the Captain Marvel shit. As you have a penis. As Ivan Drago's mother.
Okay. Okay.
Or I'm sorry, Victor Drago's mother.
Right.
I'm so confused now.
Yeah, son.
Anyway.
Yeah, no.
Drago's wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's exciting too. I didn't
even catch her in the trailer.
I didn't see her either.
Was she in the cast list, or was she? Did she show
she was not in the trailer, no, but she was in the cast list.
Okay.
It's going to be a nice dynamic too, just because, mind you, this is going to be a revenge plot somewhat for him getting revenge for his father's death. But you also got to take in the fact that, is it really going to be as big, given how Rocky IV was really about the tension between the USSR and the US in the 80s and the Cold War? Like, is there going to be any kind of cultural, country, any kind of speculation, any kind of hints, any kind of sprinkles of that? Or will it purely be like son versus son? Because the trailer does not exactly flesh out how this fight comes to be.
Sure.
Which, to be honest, we probably don't want it to, because that would be a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah.
But I wonder where they're going to take it when the film actually gets released.
Honestly, So when I first heard that they were making this, and it was going to be, Adonis versus, Ivan Drago's son, I was like, oh my God, like, this is almost too on the nose, just because of we're almost at like Cold War level tensions with Russia right now. So I was really surprised that they were doing this. I was like, oh man, this is kind of like real, like, topical right now. So I like that angle. I can't imagine that they're not going to kind of play into that.
They got to mention it at least once.
Now, look, if they have a scene at the end when the fight's over and fucking Michael B. Jordan starts like talking to the crowd, he's like, and if I can change, you can change, and we all can, I'm gonna walk out the fucking theater.
No,
because that is the corniest part of that movie. I love that movie to death, but that ending part, I was like, okay, you don't need to try and have an Independence Day speech at the end of this shit.
Oh my God.
Because they basically try to make it seem like Rocky ended the Cold War and shit in the movie. I was just like, come on, man.
That's my favorite part.
No, that is pro-USA.
Yeah, that was like propaganda levels.
I don't care. It's still my favorite part.
But still, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. But my thing is, I like the fact that they address it in the movie, because in the first Creed, Adonis, he doesn't want it's not about like, because it's kind of like him trying to get out of his father's shadow. Like, he wants to be a fighter, but he doesn't want to just be forever known as Apollo Creed's son. He wants to be his own thing, and he's trying to become his own man and learn who he is and who he wants to be. And in this, she kind of confronts him about it, and she's like, don't pretend that this is about your father. Like, this is about you trying to undo that part of his legacy, or make your own name for yourself and be like, hey, I beat the Drago, and whereas my father couldn't. Like, it's kind of for more selfish reasons than it is like revenge per se. I mean, I'm sure there's an element of that, but it kind of feels like, like this is my chance to finally completely step out of his shadow and be like, now I am my own person. It's kind of like the whole, like we talked about last week with Space Jam. It's kind of like the Jordan and LeBron thing, where it's like, he has to win more championships than Jordan does to ever not stop being compared to him. So it's like, if Adonis can beat Drago's son, then maybe he'll stop getting those comparisons and he'll be his own fighter. I want Rocky dead. I want him dead by the end of this, because the way they played it in Creed, I think he had like cancer or some shit, and they made it seem like he was going to die in that, and then by the end it was like, psych, just kidding, I'm still here. And in this one, he don't look too rough or anything. It's like, he got to die. I'm sorry, he has to die by this one. They got a Harrison Ford, The Force Awakens his ass, and kill him off. Like, he's got to go. Like, if if they're going to make the Creed movies, it's kind of meta because in the story, he's trying to step out of the shadow of his father. Mm-hmm. And in real life, these movies have to step out of the shadow of Rocky. Like, if they're going to keep making these, they have to become their own thing. That's kind of why they named it Creed and not like Rocky.
They tried that,
7
with Balboa, and it failed.
What? Who?
No.
Peter Petrelli wasn't going to be Rocky. Like, who was going to take the mantle of Rocky at that point?
They tried to just end Rocky right then and there.
Right. And that's kind of where this franchise came from, where it's not a continuation of Rocky. It's not his story anymore. But if you're going to keep inserting him into the movies, you're never going to not make that comparison to the Rocky movies because he's still there. That's why I'm like, you got to get rid of, hey, he's had his time. It's time for him to go. He ain't finna fight nobody in this shit. Him and Ivan Drago, old ass, ain't finna be.
They gonna chase each other on Amigos.
Oh my god!
Can you imagine Sylvester Stallone on an Amigo?
Oh yeah, actually, unfortunately, I can.
Well, no, I actually agree with you on this, Mike. I don't necessarily know if in this film he should pass, but there's going to be some point where, him just as a character is going to get old and unnecessary, especially if they really want to take Creed, off on his own. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to wonder, just based on the trailer, if there's going to be some parallels to how Rocky was with his son in Rocky 5. If you remember that, he was so obsessed with training Tommy Gunn that he kind of neglects his own kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the trailer alone kind of has his mother saying, "Don't pretend this is about your father. Like, what are you going to do? You have a family now." Mm-hmm. Like, I like how it makes it seem like Rocky Balboa in the film is still relevant more than just a trainer, but actually a mentor, as in, like, I've went down this road.
Like, he's the new Mickey.
Don't do it yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, Mickey, not to the same extent as Mickey was as it pertains to, like, family.
Sure. Okay, that's fair.
But in the same role as you have a baby now, you have I don't know if it's a girlfriend or wife because I haven't seen the first one.
I don't think they're married.
But
they weren't married in the first one, but they might be in the second one.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have a baby in the first one either.
No.
She's pregnant in the second one.
Yeah.
I saw that part in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, whatever the case may be, now he has a kid, and it's like, do you really want to take an unnecessary risk? Because, if it's... Rocky was the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And so, even though Drago was much bigger than him, they were both technically heavyweights. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, without spoiling it too much for me, did Creed become the heavyweight champion, or is he like a light heavyweight, a bantam, a cruise, like what weight class?
I think he is heavyweight.
Yeah, I want to say maybe light heavyweight, but I'm not exactly sure.
Because just by looking at Michael B. Jordan, just normally he doesn't look like he'd be a heavyweight.
No, he got pretty swole for this one. He looks bigger in this than he did in the first Creed.
I think that was the point, though.
But that was kind of my thing watching this trailer the whole time. The most unbelievable thing to me about this whole movie is going to be like, there's no fucking way in hell they're in the same weight class. Like, that dude is huge. Like, the dude that's playing Drago's son, he is like a good foot taller than Michael B. Jordan and like another good 80 pounds of muscle heavier. I'm like, there is no fucking way y'all are in the same weight class. Like, this is one of them, like, celebrity fights type things where it's like, this isn't going to be really for any kind of belt or anything like that.
Hulk
Hogan. Yeah. Where it's just like, hey, this is just going to be a fight for money and not like any kind of actual belt. Because I'm like, there is no fucking weight. There is no universe that they're in the same weight class. Like, that dude is like a super heavyweight, if anything. I'm like, that dude is fucking big.
Well, that doesn't actually work. In boxing, once you're over 200, you're heavy. That's why I'm like, Is Michael B. Jordan really, can he pull off, like, looking like he's 200 pounds?
I don't know.
Because I don't know.
Like, in the poster that they have, the most recent poster they put out, where he's, like, on his knees and he's, like, screaming into the air and shit, he looked big.
Yeah, he did.
And then the first poster they put out for him, like, he's pretty fucking swole. Like,
well, by the end of Creed, he got pretty big.
Yeah.
Like, once he started taking shit seriously, and once Rocky started training him, he bulked up even from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. So, it's plausible that they're both in the same weight class. Opposite.
At this point, it really is just me nitpicking, but I'm curious, just because after watching him in Black Panther's, like, dude looks like he might be pushing 200, but I don't know.
Yeah,
he was pretty big in Black Panther.
Yeah.
Because I'm 6'1", and I'm out of shape, and I'm just barely 200 pounds. So it's like,
right. No, I'm curious though. Like, It looks like I hope that we at least they're gonna have some kind of training montage because all these movies fucking do. And there is a part where they show. I'm just curious, like, is he gonna have steroids and shit like his dad did back in Rocky 5 or 4? I'm like, you don't remember Drago? They were shooting him up with all kind of shit.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious, like, is they gonna put him on steroids? Because there's a part where he's doing like these push-ups, and he has like the ropes, and he like pushes up and like swings the ropes before he goes back down. I'm like, that is impressive. Like to get that high off the ground. And to be able to
was
do
like
that,
2 feet up off the ground.
Yeah, I'm like, he's juicing. like they're giving him something. Like,
we got 2018 juice.
Oh man, but if they do the corny ass, Go America propaganda at the end, it's gonna be cool to have like Vladimir Putin up there on the stage, and, like Michael B. Jordan yelling at him. Oh, it's gonna be great.
Can we get some more DMX? Like DMX is in the trailer.
Yeah,
I heard that song. I'm like, oh shit.
I was like, oh okay.
I heard Who We Be, and I was like, oh shit.
I listened to that on the way to work today too. Like when I was coming to work, I'm like, did it. Yeah, that's my shit.
The hurt, the pain, the dirt, the rain.
Yep.
All that. I'm like, I haven't heard this song in a minute, and I miss it. I miss you, DMX. Please come back.
Right.
Please stay clean.
Right, please, right, and pay off your goddamn IRS bills and baby mamas and shit, because you fucking up. All right, but no, I mean, I think we're all on the same page with this. We're all excited to see this, and I'm really looking forward to what they end up doing with this second one, because I really enjoyed the first Creed, so I'm looking forward to what they do.
Ben needs to go watch the first Creed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go check it out. You'll enjoy it. It's a really good movie. It's really reminiscent of the first Rocky, where it's not all flashy and shit like that, and it's just kind of like more of a character study, and the fights are kind of just a backdrop for telling the story of these people. But it's good, and the fights are really well choreographed, and it feels like the hits are like they feel real. So, yeah, it's a good movie.
It takes a lot to get me to watch any film. Like, I am not a movie guy.
Sure. As he says that on the movie and pop culture podcast.
I was just thinking the same thing.
You're supposed to keep that under the hat.
You're in training.
So the next one that we got is the trailer for Bumblebee, and the first one I was like, okay, I kind of like what they're doing with this, but now I'm totally sold. Like I'm with it now. The fact that they made this a period piece was a just genius idea, because the Transformers feel. Just the whole concept of them feel 80s, and so it only makes sense to set the movie in the 80s.
Yes.
It's like it don't work in today for whatever reason for me. And plus, they went back to kind of like the Generation 1 version of the characters. So like the way that they're designed, they look like the old 80s TV show.
Yes. What
Michael Bay did with the Transformers movies, like, say what you will, some people like them, some people don't. I'm in the don't like camp. But
I'm on the other side of that.
The first one is good. Everyone after that, they just progressively got worse and worse and worse. And by the time they went to like China and all that shit, I was like, okay, I'm done.
I like the first 3, but the fourth one with the dinosaurs, the Age of Extinction.
Oh, that's where you finally got.
Yeah.
When they went to Egypt and shit, that's when I was like, man, y'all are just blowing shit up just for the sake of blowing shit up now. Like, this shit is stupid. And he brings Optimus Prime back to life and all that shit with the Matrix of whatever the fuck it was called, and he stabs him in the chest with. Anyway, I am very pleased with what I'm saying, because I'm getting a lot of nostalgia from the character designs and the time period. Not only that, but it feels kind of like I'm getting a lot of Iron Giant vibes from this. Like the way they're telling the story. Michael Bay and Zack Snyder are very similar to me. They are good visual directors, but they suck at telling stories. Like the stories are always kind of like an afterthought, and it was like the set pieces and action is what they're really concerned with. And in this, it feels like there's going to actually be a heartfelt, kind of like a boy and his dog type story, know, but in this, it's a girl and her robot car machine alien thing, and I like that. I like the feels that they're giving me in the trailer. I was like, yeah, like I want to see the relationship between Bumblebee and this girl,
right?
Because that seems like that's going to be the crux of the movie, and everything else is kind of like just backdrop shit. But the real meat of the story is their relationship and them kind of forming a bond with each other and shit. Like I like that. And then plus we got John Cena.
I was waiting for it.
Oh,
wait, John Cena was in the trailer?
Oh yeah, John Cena. He's the big square-jawed military dude that's in it. Like,
I didn't see no big square-jawed military.
Did you watch the right trailer?
Yeah, he's definitely in it. He's in both trailers, so
I couldn't see him.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely in it. Oh, you know what? I just got that. No.
Mike was like seriously about to go off.
No.
Oh man, Mike gonna teach me some basic thugonomics. Okay.
Oh my god.
No, okay. I have a theory about Mr. Cena and what they're doing with this. I think they're low key trying to do a Transformers / G.I. Joe reboot.
Okay.
I have a theory. I've seen this floating around online too, but I have a theory that they are secretly reintroducing G.I. Joe into this universe, and we're going to get some kind of G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. Because tell me...
What's more 80s than G.I. Joe and Transformers?
Exactly. It's like, tell me... Because he has like a special unit, a branch in the military and shit. I'm telling you.
And he does look like G.I. Joe.
Thank you. Like, if if at any point they say Go Joe or anything like that, or we see Snake Eyes, if any dude jumps out in a ninja costume with a sword and shit, I'm like, there it goes. I caught it. So,
oh man, we need Sergeant Slaughter back then if that's the case.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I really feel like this would be, and especially because it's a period piece.
Sure,
you can get away with all these flamboyant, ridiculous, characters who would never fucking be in the fucking military, let alone some kind of, paramilitary secret unit shit. Like, no, it's.
And near the end of one of the trailers, I was appalled. She inserted a cassette with Rick Astley, and he spit that shit out with the quickness.
Oh, that was hilarious. Oh yeah, I think that was the first.
He never even got the chance to say he wouldn't give him up. He just spit it out. I'm never gonna.
Yeah, he's like, nope. Overall, I don't have much more to say about this. Besides that, I'm excited. Like, I think they're finally got me back on board with Transformers. Like, I want to see what they do with this. Like, Lord knows what's gonna actually come out of it. I mean, it could be shit, but I have hope again. I haven't seen a Transformers trailer in a long time that made me go like, "Ooh, I want to go see that." But this one finally was like, "Yeah, I'm down. I'm down."
You mentioned that this was a period piece too, because it's going to be taking place in the 80s. I think I haven't seen all of them, but I think this is the 6th Transformer film.
Yeah, I think so, something like that.
Well, is this then technically a prequel to the originals or like a spin-off?
Prequel /
How does this compare to the previous films?
Prequel / because the way it's seen, because it does take place before the first Transformers movie.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to kind of retcon the rest of it going forward. Mm-hmm. Because of Optimus and them coming to Earth and all that doesn't happen until the first movie. So I think they're going to kind of retcon some of this shit, which I'm totally fine with. If they completely do away with the continuity from the Shia LaBeouf, Michael Bay movies, I don't think anybody's going to be like, "Oh, I can't believe you did." No,
I'd be all right if they lose the Mark Wahlberg side of that.
Oh, yeah, no, he's done. No, they just substituted him also for some other big-ass motherfucker. They just put John Cena in instead. I'm like, they always got somebody, man. I just feel bad for Tyrese. They just got rid of his ass altogether. They didn't kill his character.
Yeah, but he still has the Fast and Furious franchise to take care of. So he's cool.
Well, shit, I was going to say, the way that's going, he might not even have that shit no more.
If he ain't got enough money from the 8 that they've already made,
he don't.
I take that back. He was only in 6 of them.
Well, he's got like some kind of custody battle going on with his daughter. I think that might be over now, but he's been kind of hurting for money, or at least he acts like.
Oh, okay. So
then he better release some more albums.
And movies.
Yeah, right. I know, right? You better make another album or something. Shit.
The world needs more Tyrese baby making music.
There you go. Yeah, but I mean,
I think Tyrese himself is just a baby maker. You just look at him and
yeah, pretty much. I was gonna say the man is sexy.
He's a beautiful bald head man.
I can contest to that. I'd be alright with that.
The man is sexy. I'll give you that.
I mean, he's no Rick Astley, but he's close.
Nice.
No, but.
So we've been positive and all that jazz for these first two trailers, but this next one, I'm gonna go to a dark place. You see what I did there? Yeah.
Is this a pun on Dark Phoenix? Is that where you were?
Wow, good job, Ben.
Yeah. See.
Is that
good segue? Yay for me.
Well, no, I'm telepathic, so I can read your mind.
Oh, good reference. So okay. We have a new trailer for X-Men: The Last Stand. I mean, I'm sorry, Dark Phoenix. My apologies. So, okay, if you can't tell, I'm not feeling this one. I'm not. I literally watching this the whole time. I just kept saying they're remaking X-Men: The Last Stand. They're definitely remaking X-Men: The Last Stand. Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean all the way down to the flashback of Jean when she was a little girl and her powers not being able to control it, and Professor X blocking out her memory and kind of subduing her powers. I'm like, that is literally the same story.
Not to mention the Storm's haircut was exactly the same.
I didn't catch that, but you could be right. I didn't too much pay attention. I thought she still had the mohawk though.
No, she's got that shortcut that Halle Berry had in Last Stand.
God damn, man! It's like stop trying to merge these continuities together.
Gray and black, like Halle Berry's was.
Stop trying to merge the continuity together with the original X-Men movies. I thought the whole point of making X-Men Days of Future Past was so they could change the continuity. They didn't have to keep trying to attach it to the original movies. But the one big thing about this one is this is going to be the first X-Men movie with no Hugh Jackman. There will be no Wolverine in this movie whatsoever. And every single X-Men movie, even when they did X-Men First Class, he still had a cameo in that. Every X-Men movie has always had Hugh Jackman in it, and this will be the first without him.
Okay, I know Hugh Jackman said he did not want to play Wolverine any longer after Logan. But I'm sorry, whether it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the comics, whatever canon of X-Men you have, when you talk about Phoenix and the Phoenix Saga, you have to put in Logan just because Jean Grey and Wolverine had that side thing going on. He has to at least make a cameo.
Thank you. Thank you.
He has to.
That was my whole thing. I was like, so, wait a minute. You're telling probably if not the most popular, one of the most popular X-Men stories to have ever been told, and Wolverine's not in it. Good fucking job, Fox. I'm actually really surprised that this is even still coming out, which we're going to talk about after we talk about the trailer, because I figured for sure that when Disney bought Fox, they was like, nope, we are putting a kibosh on all this bullshit. They said, y'all have fucked up X-Men enough. We are taking that shit and we are bringing it home. Like, fuck that. Like, we brought Spider-Man into the fold. We finna bring X-Men and Fantastic Four into the fold. Y'all done. But they still put the trailer out of fucking nowhere. It came out at like midnight and on like a Tuesday or some shit. And I was just like, really? Like, what is this? So, from what I understand of this movie, there will be the space element, because that is the whole thing with the Phoenix Saga story, is that Jean gets basically possessed with the Phoenix Force, and that's what gives her all these crazy fire powers and all this shit, and kind of enhances her telepathy and telekinesis and all of that. There's going to be an element of that, I guess, but they're still trying to do the whole she was too powerful and crazy and we had to suppress her and, I had to secretly, block her memories and all this. And it's like, y'all told that story and nobody liked it the first time. Right. So what makes you go, I'm going to get another shot to tell it the right way? It's like, no, just don't. Look, this is what my problem is with other studios. Marvel does change how the stories are from the comics to the screen. Like, you have to adapt it. You can't just do a beat for beat same story. But they adapt it just enough to where they keep the core elements of that story, but they make it work for the universe that they have established currently. Fox and Warner Brothers, they just say, okay, what's a popular comic? All right, just take the shit we like out of that, and then we'll just make up a whole thing around it. The Phoenix story is so good because Jean Grey, she was like the poster child of Because when they created these characters, it was like the 50s and 60s and shit.
Sure.
And women were, looked at as, very timid and quiet and, to kind of stay in your place, iron the clothes and cook the dinner and all that shit. And that was, for the most part, Jean's character. Like, that was Cyclops' woman. It was like there was always kind of a thing between her and Logan, but it never really developed in anything.
Yeah,
he was
it was
more
like that
chasing
unspoken
her.
sexual tension.
Right, but she never really reciprocated anything to him. But then when she gets to Phoenix, then she just comes out of her shell and she's just this bombastic, just, like
sexual being.
Sex on legs and shit, pretty much. It's like she starts fucking with Logan and she goes bad. She's with the evil mutants and all this other shit. And it's like, that's why that story was so compelling, was because you got to turn her from this kind of good girl to like the bad girl, But I don't think that they've established her enough in this new universe for that to even mean anything. It's like we barely know anything about this Jean. She's been in 2 movies or 1.
I don't think she's been in any.
No, she was in Days of Future Past. Or no, I'm sorry, she was.
No.
See, everybody keeps forgetting Apocalypse. She was in X-Men Apocalypse. And
she was in Apocalypse.
And I think she was in Days of Future Past
No,
too,
she
but maybe
wasn't.
not. Wasn't Cyclops in Days of Future Past?
Cyclops was.
So then Jean was there too.
No, she wasn't.
Really?
Really?
Oh shit! I need to go back and watch Days of Future Past. Anyway,
when I think of Jean Grey, I just think of the original X-Men
Right.
franchise, not these first-class prequels where she was played by Fam, because some name I can't pronounce.
Yeah. Which Fam?
Yeah, it sounds like it's 2-3 names. K. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. Even though I really haven't seen many of the prequels, why would they want to do this now? Why would they want to establish her character with the 4th film in this franchise? And in doing so, are they going to end up like retconning? Like, I feel like adding her or giving her special importance, because let's be honest, she was the original female in the X-Men, if you want to go back to like 63 or something,
sure,
when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
But has she ever really had a prominent role in any of these 3 films prior to this?
Nope. Like I said, she's barely in Apocalypse, and it's, and then now they're like, oh, she's important, and it's like, you can't. That's the whole thing about like my complaint.
It throws off the timeline too. Like, apparently, Professor X is supposed to have met her when she was a child, and he was a young man in a wheelchair. But if you watch the Days of Future Past and you watch the Apocalypse, Charles didn't have any connection with her when she was a child.
Yeah.
He didn't find her when he had all the other ones. And
there's like, no, that happened off screen. You don't know?
Yeah.
That was a deleted scene.
Well, that's so a big chunk
they
that
are
they
actually going to retcon this.
that you shouldn't leave off screen.
Yeah. It's like, if you're gonna try and establish that, then there should have been at least a name drop or a mention of her, like, oh, I met a young girl and this, that, and the other who needed help or something.
Yeah,
just a throwaway line, just to be like, okay, we've established that he's met Jean already
right.
at this point.
And they don't.
No,
not at all.
No.
Well, why wouldn't she have even been in First Class then? I mean, realistically, when you go back to the comics, she was in the first comic, she was the first female.
Right. Yep.
The only female.
So where the hell was she this whole time?
Beats the hell out of me.
Yeah.
The only female in First Class was Mystique.
Yep. Good old Jennifer Lawrence. Now, look, Jennifer Lawrence is a good actress. I do like her. She is in a bunch of good movies like American Hustle and what was that movie where she makes like the mop shit or whatever?
I don't know.
Amber Scene.
I like
the one where she dances. They got the Notebook and she dances.
No.
I liked her in all of the Hunger
movies.
Games movies.
She is a good actress. Don't get me wrong. But she does not want to be in these movies no more, and she just progressively is trying less and less as these movies go on. I swear she's just totally phoning this shit in. I mean, to the point where she doesn't like having to be putting all the body paint and the makeup and shit, which I get it. I mean, it's like 5 or 6 hours in the makeup chair every single day, to maybe go film, 2 minutes worth of footage, and then it's like, all right, that's a wrap. See you tomorrow, Jennifer. And it's like, fucking hell. So I get, how that can become tiresome.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, you signed up to be this fucking character, man. You knew
right.
what the
You
fuck.
can't be in hiding the whole time.
Right. And it's just like, okay, my biggest problem with her is in the first reboot, the X-Men First Class, one of the lines she says is mutant and proud.
Yes.
Because it was kind of this whole thing of, you know, she, out of all the X-Men, was the most, had it the worst because, yeah, she could shapeshift in the shit, but her natural form is blue.
Right.
And she had to learn how to accept who she was and not try to transform and look like somebody else and try to hide it. But in every movie since then, she just keeps being more Jennifer Lawrence and less Mystique. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I'm like, especially by this movie, they show her, I think, once in the trailer where she's blue. Maybe twice. But for the other times you see her, she's just Jennifer Lawrence. She's in the X Mansion talking to Professor X when she's like, oh, there's another word for that, Charles, or some shit. And she's just in Jennifer Lawrence form. And I'm like, you're in the institution surrounded by nothing but other mutants. Why are you hiding who you are right now? Yeah. When you're out in public, I get it. But here, it's like,
you know, Rebecca Romaine had issues being blue too, and that bitch stuck it out. They did reboots and reshoots, and she was Rebecca in like 3 scenes out of 3 different movies.
Yeah, she stuck with it. And I'm just like, hey man, look, that's always my thing. It's like these people, they get into these roles and then they're like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm tired of this. And it's like, did you not read the byline of your contract that said that we got you for 5 movies for the next 10 years?
No,
or some
they don't
shit?
Read that shit. They just sign off on it. They're like,
how much are you paying me? All right.
That's all they look at.
But I mean, like I said, this trailer came out of nowhere. I didn't think that they were even going to keep going forward with this movie now that Marvel or Disney bought out Fox. So I'm really surprised that this is even happening at all, which this is the part that I wanted to get to. So they just released this trailer. And literally no bullshit. They have already delayed the movie. They've pushed it back. They've already been pushing the date back up until this point, and now they've pushed it back again. Okay, so I'm getting this from ScreenRant.com. It says, as of today, Fox has officially moved Alita from December 21st, 2018 to Dark Phoenix's most recent launch date of February 14th, 2019. Dark Phoenix will instead open in theaters 4 months later on June 7th. With Gambit,
hell no.
Which they are never making this Gambit movie. So anybody, any Channing Tatum fans who thought he was going to play, that shit is not happening. Put that shit to bed. But the Gambit movie has now been delayed until March 13th of 2020. However, perhaps the most surprising Fox-related news of the day is that Alita's old spot has been filled by a PG-13 theatrical cut of Deadpool 2. I'm like, they look, they're riding that Deadpool dick so hard that they like, we finna release it again as PG-13.
PG-13?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For the kids.
Okay. I don't want to go to a movie where every other scene is cut, nor do I want to go to a movie where it's, you mother, bleep, 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 bleep,
change the line or some shit. Or maybe they can draw attention to that. Maybe they film some other scenes and they be like, oh, well, you know, this is for the kids. And so it'd be like, you know, insert family-friendly joke here or something. Like, he breaks the fourth wall all the time. It would only make sense if they're going to do this for him to break the fourth wall and make it obvious that, yes, we had to change the movie to do it. Stop looking at me like that.
I'm sorry.
The way Mel is looking at me, she's like, I fucking hate you for trying to justify this shit.
I'm sorry, but as somebody who does not have children yet.
Sure.
I know damn sure as a parent, if I went and saw Deadpool, I would certainly let my kids go watch Deadpool just because it's Deadpool. I mean, I don't know. As somebody who has kids, what is your?
I would not let my son see that shit. No, but I mean, you know, that's just me though. I mean, hey, everybody raises their children differently. I mean, I just, there's too much shit in that, especially in Deadpool 2. I mean, they pretty much show his dick in that movie, and I'm just like, that was a bit too much for me to be like, yeah, no, this is kid friendly. That's fine.
No, I didn't say it was kid friendly. I just said I'd let my kid watch it.
She's like, fuck it.
It's superheroes.
But
well, kind of.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Yeah. But the article goes on to say that Dark Phoenix's release date delay comes as something of a shock, seeing as how the first Dark Phoenix trailer was only just released this week. The film, which was directed by longtime X-Men writer Simon Kinberg, had previously been pushed back from its original November 2018 release date in order to allow time for its reshoots to be completed this past summer. As it stands, Dark Phoenix will now open against Illumination's animated sequel, The Secret Life of Pets 2, at the box office. Now, some people have been trying to make the argument of, oh, see, they have faith that the movie's going to do good. They're putting it out in June now instead of February, because February is usually the month where they kind of just dump bullshit movies where they're just like, no one's going to the theater right now anyway, so we'll just put whatever the fuck out there, and it's just whatever. But Deadpool has kind of changed that, because the first Deadpool came out in February, I believe, and that movie made a fucking ton of money. So you can release a good movie at any point. It doesn't necessarily have to be, any summer release date or anything like that. That's not a big deal. But I just feel like they just keep pushing this back, and they're just going to push it back to infinity. Like, the next time we hear about Dark Phoenix, they're going to be like, yeah, it's releasing in August of 2027 now. Like, I'm just really surprised that Disney is even going to allow this to happen. I mean, maybe there's some kind of contractual thing where they're just like, hey, you have to put this movie out, because it's been made and we've paid these people and this, that, and the other. They have royalty rights that they got to collect from it. Who knows? But I just don't see them letting this come out and fucking with the continuity any more than what they already have, especially if they're going to try and bring them into the MCU. You can't keep doing these. You can't be a DC and just be like, oh, we got Jared Leto's Joker, and now we got Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. It's like, you can't start diluting the brand. It's like, if we're going to bring them into the MCU, we got to kill off all this other bullshit. Like, sorry.
Thank you. I can't keep up with all this shit. It makes me not want to bother.
Yeah, it's like, you can't just keep... And especially, too, if you're not going to do anything original with this shit and you're just going to basically tell X-Men 3 again, it's like, then why are we even making this bullshit? Just be like, oh, no, it's different. They're going to go to space. It's like, yeah, for what, 2 seconds? Like, all right. I don't know. Like, I can't co-sign this X-Men bullshit no more. I'm sorry. I just can't.
I had a glimmer of hope of being excited for Dark Phoenix. And then I saw this trailer and I'm like, fuck is this shit? It
was very underwhelming.
Yeah.
I was just like, there was no big, like, ooh moment at the end or anything.
Somebody sent me, I think it was my brother. My brother sent me the link to the video on YouTube.
Sure.
And I was like, all right, they finally put out a trailer. Let's check this out. And I was all kind of geeked out because Jean's my favorite X-Men person.
Sure.
Well, I don't know. I like Storm too. But anyway, I was all excited. And then I clicked on the link and I watched the trailer and I was like, no.
Meh.
No. Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I'm not too hard pressed about it either. I'm just like, yeah, no. Yeah, we can go ahead and just skip over this.
This I probably won't see in theaters.
I don't blame you.
I'll wait till Netflix.
Yeah, you shouldn't. It doesn't look very good at all. But anyway, I mean, anybody else got final thoughts on this?
That's if we even get it,
Yeah.
November. All right. I saw an article a while back. Okay, this is getting released in November. No. Then it was in the trailer. All right, coming December. No.
And that's my thing. It's like, there was no way in hell that they were going to release this movie in November, and they just put the first trailer out at the end of September.
Yeah.
It's like, we've seen literally nothing from this movie, and then it's like, oh, in a month and a half, it's going to be out. It's like, bullshit. I'm like, usually big budget, like, action movies and shit, you see the first trailer, like, at least 4 to 6 months before the movie comes out. And it's like, yeah, this is the first anything we've seen from this. Like, that movie is not coming out. It's just not. But yeah, anything else before we jump off of this? Because I'm done with these guys.
I'm not going to be thinking about this after this moment.
I'm not thinking about this now.
Right.
I have not. I've got other things on my brain.
Though, one thing before we go, one thing is cool. I do like that they're finally stop being afraid to dress the characters in their traditional costumes. Like, they got the straight up blue with the big yellow X on the chest. I was like, thank you, because that's what always pissed me off about the X-Men movies, is that they were trying to be too much like the Matrix and shit. Because in the first X-Men, Wolverine makes a comment about, he's like, oh, you guys go outside in these things, and Cyclops says to him, he was like, what would you rather prefer, yellow spandex? And it's like, yes, bitch, I would.
Bright yellow spandex with a little bit of blue on the shoulder.
Yeah, that's the X-Men's fucking uniform. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, these studios want to make superhero movies, but they're simultaneously ashamed to make a superhero movie. And that's what bothers me.
We're going to rip off this source material, but then we're going to just shit on it in front of a mainstream audience.
Okay, all right. I'm
Moving
done with
on.
them. Moving on. It's that time again for America's #1 show, Dumb Shit of the Week. That's right. Dumb Shit of the Week is a show where you submit your findings of dumb shit and we talk about it. Want your submission on the show? Find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or you can email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. Now here's your host, DJ Melly Mel.
Thank you. All right, so we have a special dumb shit of the week in lieu of the Halloween-esque month that has come upon us.
Halloween-esque? Go ahead. Sorry.
Somewhat,
like
just a little bit.
Right.
For some people, they celebrate Halloween all 31 days.
Sure.
I guess that's a thing. I'm not my thing, but all right, I'll go for it. So the theme this week is dumb Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
This should be interesting. Our first submission has come to us by Mackenzie Lambert, and you can find her at
Him.
Oh my goodness, Mackenzie! I forgot can be a male name.
I know. I was listening.
How dare you assume
Sorry,
gender.
Mackenzie. You can find at Cinna Mac on Twitter. And he says, senior year of high school, I tried for a zombie from Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Unfortunately, makeup was too blue, and people thought that I was a cannibalistic member of the Blue Man Group. For the longest time, I hated Halloween until I was able to afford my own costumes. Oh, that.
Because somebody thought you were something else, you were upset?
Hey, you know what? That would have been a very unique costume, like a cannibalistic member of the Blue Man Group. I mean, hey, that's pretty original to me.
They say you are what you eat, and I just took out the whole Smurf village.
I guess,
you know?
I mean, I can sympathize with Mackenzie though, because I've had some really bad homemade costumes.
There's kind of a running theme with these, where a lot of these seem like they're homemade get-ups, and it's just like, yeah, homemade costumes rarely turn out good.
No, I've had some good homemade costumes too. It just depends on the means that are available to you and the creativity that you're willing to put into this.
Yeah. I think if you can be creative enough and not try to be too ambitious, then you can make it work to some degree. I mean, okay, so for example, 2 years ago, I was Tony Stark for Halloween. Not Iron Man, but Tony Stark. Went and got a wig, got the goatee going, put on a suit, put a little Iron Man glove on, boom, Tony Stark. Like that was it. It was very simple, very easy, didn't have to do too much to it. And, you got to think outside of the box, especially when, like you said, you have limited resources.
Yes, growing up as a broke kid in a small town, I had my fair share of what can I use to make myself into a Halloween costume that's going to be creative. I remember one year, I don't know why, but I got tired of doing, the same old. Everybody does like the witch and the ghost and you have the generic 10 that everybody does.
Sure.
Well, I was like, probably 13 or 14. And I don't even think I was that old. I had to be younger than that, between 10 and 13. And I said, okay, well, I want to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I went and I got myself a blonde wig.
Ooh.
And I went to the thrift store and I got a black knee-length trench coat. And I made myself a couple of crosses out of some pencils. And I took one of my brother's Nerf guns and I spray painted it black and put a bow on top of it with some string and a hanger. So that was pretty nifty.
Nice.
My mom made me up a little she took one of her bottles that she makes lotions and stuff in, and she put holy water on it. And we put some water in there, and I had my grandpa had these fence post tops, and they would look like stakes. So I took a couple of them, and I had it all lined up in my belt and everything.
See, yes.
It in theory was supposed to be a good costume. However,
oh shit. You were selling me on it. I was like, okay, I see it.
The hair, the wig kept sticking to my face.
Oh shit.
Because it was hot and gross, and then the trench coat was warm, which in October in Michigan shouldn't be a problem. However, it was the one year that we had like the 70-degree Halloween, and so I was sweating my ass off being Buffy.
Yeah,
but
honestly,
it was cool. It was a cool idea. I had to explain to everybody what I was, but I mean, it was still.
Yeah, and honestly, when you're trick or treating and shit, you're walking for like, I mean, at least I know when I was a kid,
blocks.
They would just drop us off at the corner and be like, "We'll just follow you in the car." And it's like, "Are you fucking serious?" It's like, "Well, y'all gotta walk to door." We'd have walked like 10 blocks by the end of that shit, and it's like, "Y'all got enough candy yet?" And it's like, "Yes." I just let me back in the fucking car. I want to go home.
Yeah, and of course,
when you
have younger siblings, man, they're always like, "No, I don't have enough yet."
Right, and it's like, fuck you. I'm finna take half of your shit when we get home anyway. You got. That's probably why they said we ain't got enough. It's like, I know you gonna take all the good shit anyway, so I gotta make sure I get enough to have something worth making this trip.
And then my mom always used to drop us off at the church parking lots that did the pumpkins in the parking lot thing, where you'd like go around all the little church people and they're sitting in the back seat of their car handing out candy, because it didn't matter where we went, somebody we knew had, "Oh, well, we're setting up at the church, so make sure you bring the kids. We want to see their costumes. We're not going to be home." Fuck. So we had to go like 6 different churches.
Yeah.
On top of the 10 blocks that we had to walk.
I think any successful Halloween, or trick-or-treating event, as long as you go to the well-off suburban neighborhood, it's worth the trip, because they'll hook you up with some good shit.
Yep.
I was about to ask you when you were saying you were Buffy, but you pretty much verified for me. I'm going to ask you if you were Christy Swanson or Sarah Michelle Gellar. But I'm guessing, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, Christy Swanson was hot in that cheerleader
That's
outfit.
my Buffy. Y'all can keep Sarah Michelle Gellar. My Buffy,
the original
is the Buffy that fucking stabs Pee Wee Herman. And
yes.
Pee Wee Herman.
I love that movie. Oh, that scene is hilarious.
I forgot he was in that movie.
Oh yeah. That scene is hilarious.
I'm pretty sure that came out right before he was whacking it in the theater.
Probably,
yeah. Because at that point, I think he had probably hit a career low. At that point, he's just like, "Oh, okay."
But no, my mom and my aunt, man, they could throw together some hella good outfits for Halloween. I got some fond memories of being a kid. Like one year, me and my cousin, we were dice.
Nice.
That's
real,
cool.
Real simplistic. Just took a big old box, cut some holes for, legs, arms, a hat, and then just painted up. The pips were even right. It was like 1 on the side, 6 on the opposite, 4 and 3.
Nice.
Only problem was we could barely fit through the fucking door.
My brother had that problem.
That's
one
what
year.
I was thinking too, because I was like, how did y'all get in and out of the fucking car?
My brother was a Lego, and we took a big ass box and spray painted it red. And we put Lego on the side of it, and then he got a little shoebox for his head.
Okay.
And we put these cups on top, so it looked like it had the little connecting pieces.
Sure.
And he was this big ass red Lego. It was hilarious. Speaking of, big, huge, crazy costumes, the second one that was sent to us, Work Life in Balance Podcast, and you can find them at WL Imbalance on Twitter. When I was in the 6th grade, I wore a white Power Ranger costume, and during the Halloween assembly, I walked past a group of 3rd graders. One of them yelled out, "Look, it's a fat Power Ranger!" Getting roasted by a goddamn toddler. It was a real shook. Or I was real shook.
That's fucked up. No, that was from Derek from Work Life and Balance.
Derek.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
And I felt so bad for him because I was like, oh man. I was like, that's shitty. I'm like, that was always like my like apprehension to be anything cool. Every year of my life to this day, I've always wanted to be Spider-Man. But I'm too fat to get in some spandex and shit.
You are not.
Bullshit. There is no... Look, if I ever was to try to put... I'd be that meme or that gif of that fat dude in the Spider-Man costume.
You are not.
No. There is no way in hell I would pull that shit off good. Hey, I appreciate the flattery.
Not even close, man.
If I saw me in that costume, I would make fun of me, So, no, I totally understand where you're coming from, Derek. Like, I get it. Like, I totally understand why... look, any skin tight anything, unless you're like in really good shape, is not very flattering to anybody, especially when you're a guy, because you got your junk and you got to kind of try to hide it. Maybe you can wear like a cup or like a G-string type deal to try and keep everything together. So it's just because the idea is to try and have the most rounded off like groin area that you can. You don't want to be able to see like your dick going to the left and your balls going to the right and shit. It's like, you don't want to see that. And especially as a child in a costume, it's like, yeah, like we might want to make it to where it's a little bit looser in the, crotchy area. So I'm like, if you're a heavyset dude, I could see how that's pretty shitty. Plus, I never liked school assemblies for Halloween costumes because it's like, unless I'm finna get the rest of the day off from school or some money,
don't make me come to school in my damn costume.
No, I was totally fine with that, but it's like, if you're gonna have me get up on stage and be judged by all the other kids and shit about who has the best costume, it's like, I should at least get something for this besides, hey, you get to get out a third hour. Like, yeah, that's cool, I guess.
See, I guess we didn't never have the assemblies. We had those crazy Halloween parties where you like had to wear a costume and your parents had to bring a treat, and I never wanted to wear my costumes to school because I still had to function and do my work, and most of my costumes had bulky accessories.
You got like big ass dragon wings and shit hanging off the back of your chair. And
there was like, a couple of times I dressed up. One time I was a cosmic fairy, and of course we were broke. We didn't have any money, so my mom made me these big ass cardboard wings out of a giant like box, like you get cups in from the gas station, those big huge boxes, and I swear to God, the wingspan was about as big as your table here.
Jesus,
probably 3.5 feet tall. They were huge, and I didn't want to wear them fuckers all day long. Keep knocking people. Oh, my bad. It's just my wings. My bad.
One year, I was I can't think of the name of the main character's name, but one year I was the main gargoyle from the Gargoyles cartoon.
Goliath.
Yes, I was Goliath from Gargoyles. I had the mask and the wings and shit, and some asshole ass kid, like, I don't know if he was like jealous of my costume or he was just being a dick in general, but like purposely like ripped one of my wings. So like the rest of the day, now this is before I even got to go trick-or-treating, fucked up my costume. So for the rest of the day, I just took the wings off and just had just the bodysuit and shit and the mask. And I was just like, it's stupid now. Now I just look dumb. Now I just look like a Frankenstein with a mullet, like I have no wings. So they're like, what exactly are you?
Oh
like,
my God. Oh, well, speaking of wings, we'll go to our third submission. And this is from Two Girls on a Bench. And you can find them at Twitter. The number 2 Girls on a Bench. When Trisha was 9, she wanted to be a butterfly. Her mom made the costume, and everyone thought that she was an alien. Oh, that's not.
I almost asked them to send a picture because I was like, "What the hell? How did that costume turn out to where they thought she was an alien?" I'm like, "God damn, with wings?" I was like, "Man, like." I'd be like, Mom, you are never making my fucking Halloween costumes again. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened when you were sewing this shit together, but like, kids at school thought that I was a fucking alien. So
I'd have went with it. I've been like, yeah, I'm an alien.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Like, what exactly?
I don't know.
What kind of butterfly wings did she make? Maybe
bullet?
Right. Maybe she got confused and made her into like a larva costume instead of a butterfly.
Maybe. I don't know.
And it was like, oh yeah, that's why it turned out shitty, was because you had no idea what exactly I was trying to go for.
Right. That's why after a certain point, I didn't let my mom help with my costumes.
She's like, I got this. Go away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just give me some money to go buy the supplies. But
about the time that I started doing my own school projects, then that was about the time Mom stopped helping me with my costumes. She'd ask, do you need this or that? Nope, I got it. I think
you must have had some pretty uncreative parents then, man, because my mom and my aunt, I'm flashing back now having good memories of my costumes. I remember I was the dye earlier, which was cool.
Sure.
I was like the mummy that was just like wrapped in toilet paper, but there's a few other things inside of it to help it keep its shape, which is real cool. But I think it was third grade. I used to collect action figures when I was a kid, like a lot of boys did. My mom and my aunt made a custom-built Sub-Zero costume. I was Sub-Zero for Halloween.
I'm pretty jealous of that.
That's legit.
I'm
right
pretty
there.
jealous of that. I'm not gonna lie.
I gotta ask if my mom or one of them probably has a photo of it still. Mine would be like a 25-year-old picture, but I want to see it. I will show you guys if I can find it. Must exist somewhere.
You will have to. We should do that.
I know. You keep saying
when
that.
we dress up for our Halloween episode on Instagram, we should put one of our costumes from when we were a kid and our costume from this year. I think.
Oh, I ain't dressing up this year.
I got to step my Halloween game up because my second thing that I've always wanted to be for Halloween, besides Spider-Man, is I want to be the Rocketeer for Halloween.
Okay.
And I'm like, I swear to God, if I can find that jetpack and that fucking helmet and that leather jacket, I would wear that shit just daily. Like, I would go buy a motorcycle and then I'll have that be my motorcycle helmet and it'd be a whole fucking thing. Like, my dick is getting so hard just talking about it right now. Like, the gloves and the boots and shit. Oh, God, I fucking love the Rocketeer. So, kids, if you've never seen Rocketeer, go see that movie. Well, not go, but see the movie. It ain't in theaters.
It's on Netflix.
Right.
I'm sure.
Well, the flip the script then. I mean, what were your guys' worst costume? And I don't mean like worse as in what you wore and some asshole ripped it up. Like, what was, of everything that you were, what was the worst thing in your opinion?
like how it turned out or the choice of costume?
How it turned out.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I was 7 years old and I didn't want any help from Mom. I could do it all on my own. So she said, all right, what are you going to do? And I knew we weren't going trick-or-treating that year. We were just going to that stupid pumpkin in the parking lot thing. And it was cold, as it often is in Michigan for Halloween. And I remember I had a dance costume left over from when I was in dance 2 years prior. So it was a couple sizes too small. And I wore the top of the dance costume. I had a pink Mardi Gras mask. Now, mind you, the dance costume was blue. Pink Mardi Gras mask, a boa feather, like, feather boa necklace thing.
Sure,
like one of them giant feather boas. Bright green. And then I threw on some sweatpants and my coat. And Mom's like, what are you? I'm like, I don't know.
I'm fabulous.
On the bottom of my closet. She said, no, honey, why don't, I got a couple dollars. We'll just go get you a costume. Nope. I'm the bottom of my closet. And I stuck with it. I have a picture and I swear to God, I look ridiculous. Like, I know that was one of them things where my mom threw her hands up and she's just like, all right, that's what you want to do.
I'm trying to think for... Well, Ben, why don't you go ahead and do yours? I'm still trying to figure out one for me.
Well, what if I don't have one?
Oh.
And we're all good.
Well, I guess...
No.
Okay.
I'm playing with you. It was bad in the sense that it wasn't really well thought out.
Sure.
It was the last year I ever really went trick-or-treating when I was a teenager. This was at the height of the NWO split when there was two factions, when it was Black and White Hollywood and the Wolfpack.
Okay.
And I had an NWO red and black Wolfpack tank top and a red flannel. So what I did was I wore my blue jeans and I pulled, I was sagging my blue jeans. so you could see my boxers. I tucked my tank top in my boxers and wore my flannel and walked around using a faux Mexican accent and pretended to be Conan.
Oh my god.
When people would open the door, I'd be like, "Orderly! Arriba la raza!" And nobody understood it.
I don't think you can get away with that today. Like back then,
I may or may not have been high when I did that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh, that made my cheeks hurt. Oh, that was good.
Orderly.
I would probably say mine, and this one's actually fairly recent, like within the last like 5-6 years or so. I was really, really hardcore into the Assassin's Creed franchise. And I had the bright idea that I was going to be Ezio for Halloween from Assassin's Creed 2. Now, at this point, they didn't have like the costume that you could buy like in the shop or whatever. Sure. I was like, I'm gonna make my own like Ezio costume with the hood and everything, and I'm gonna have like the hidden blade and all that. It was gonna be a whole thing.
I hope you weren't trick-or-treating in Flint.
No. I was grown as shit. I was in my 20s at this point, so this was like yeah, I was too old to be probably doing this particular costume. But my girlfriend at the time, she's like, "Oh, I can sew and I can do this, that, and the other." And I was like, "Okay, well, I was like, can you help me do this?" And I hate when someone's always like, "Yes, I will help you do this thing," because they think that it'll be fun and it sounds cool, but they never actually think through the work that's going to be involved behind it. So about a half an hour into her helping me make the costume, she was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I can't make this work. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So basically, it was supposed to be this whole thing where she was supposed to hem the hood and make it to where it was going to be like a legit hood. And she just kind of gave up on it, so I just pretty much just had to lay the fabric out and just cut a hole in the head and just put it on. And it was so just ratchet looking. Oh my god. And like it was like threads hanging off the hood, and like the fabric didn't quite fit right. I had the belt and the sword and all that shit, but it just looked so thrown together and haphazard. And at the time, I was drinking too, so I thought it looked kind of cool when I was drunk, but after I sobered up and looked at the pictures of it, I was like, that costume turned out fucking we went to the bar and everything dressed up, and it turned out so bad.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, well, maybe with the lighting and everybody in here is pretty inebriated, I'll look cool, but no, it was bad.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure I've had worse ones, but in my adult life, that was probably the worst one I've had. That's when I kind of just gave up on making costumes. And I'm like, I am just going to have to spend the money and buy some shit.
My brother had one that we picked up at a yard sale. Okay. He was E.T.
Oh, God.
They took a snowsuit, like a little kid snowsuit.
Sure.
That was this ugly shit brown color.
Oh, that's supposed to be his body? Oh, my God.
It was his body. And then they took,
A for a creativity effort, I guess.
They took, like, the hood of a coat that you put on. They turned it backwards and sewed eyes that weren't even on the back of this hood thing. And then they, like, cut out little holes under the eyes so that you could see out of the back of this hood, and then it snapped to the back of the snowsuit. And my brother is standing in the driveway, and we bought it in like beginning of September, because we found it at a yard sale.
Sure.
And so my grandma's like, "Look, I got your Halloween costume." She was all excited. So she makes my brother put this thing on in the middle of the driveway here. Broad daylight, like cars driving up and down. My brother's putting the snowsuit on, and he's got like these fake wrinkles that are sewn into the costume, so it looks like an old saggy turd. He's standing there, and then the mouth is all like sewn open.
They could have made that costume so much easier if they would have just wrapped him in a blanket and then just gave the ET head.
Yeah.
Like when they try to sneak him off on the bike. That could have made that so much simpler.
Nope. My brother's like, the kid from Christmas Ralphie.
Yeah. A Christmas
Story. Yeah. I wanted to say Christmas Carol, but no, Christmas Story. Where the kid's got like 8 coats and his arms are straight out. That's what my brother looked like standing in the middle of the driveway as E.T. He's like...
Well, the real question is, did he get any Reese's Pieces? And if so, how many?
I honestly can't remember. We were pretty young that year.
Maybe a can of Coke?
Maybe.
Right, there you go.
I'm going to say no, because that was probably mid-90s.
Did they have like a string of like Christmas lights sewn through the jacket so they could make his finger glow too?
No, they just had a big red felt tip
on
my
God.
Finger. Like, because they had these gloves attached to the snowsuit, and they just took a big piece of red felt and like sewed it around the finger, and so his finger was just red.
That's not even the right color. Wasn't it like a yellow glow?
Apparently.
It was like, it's close enough. Just get the fuck out of here. Go get some candy.
Yeah.
Instead of walking door to door, did he just ride on the handlebars of a bike?
That would have been good. At least then maybe somebody would have kind of knew what he was trying to be.
He just kind of waddled.
Right, because I'm sure people was like, so you're a turd? Like, what exactly are we going for here?
Mr. Hanky.
Right, I know, right? Yeah, you just put a Christmas hat on him and he'd have been ahead of his time.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I was Princess Peach that year. I don't know why I remember the pairings that we had, but Princess Peach and E.T. has...
Why not?
God.
the lovely Princess Peach from Super Mario Land.
I was say good callback. Say no one who hasn't heard that last episode is going to get that joke, but good callback.
You're getting the death eyes from my microphone.
The death eyes through the microphone.
Yes.
That works. Yeah,
yes.
That works.
Remember, Dumb Shit of the Week is your show, so please send us in your submissions. Each week we'll compile them, read them, and shout out to you for sending it to us. So keep them coming. You can send it to us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or email it to us at officialoglfg@gmail.com.
So, for all you Zack Snyder fans out there, all 8 of you, we found out some interesting information about what he was trying to do with the DCEU before he was pretty much kicked out of
the
being
DCEU.
being the like guiding light of the DC cinematic universe or extended universe, whatever the fuck they're calling it. Failed universe is probably a better term. So okay, I'm also getting this from Screen Rant as well. It says Batman was going to die in Zack Snyder's original 5-part plan for the DC Extended Universe. The DCEU is headed in a new direction, and most of Zack Snyder's plans for the characters after the events of Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, including a significant portion of Justice League, were abandoned after he was forced off the project and extensive reshoots were conducted by Joss Whedon. They could go on to say that the revelation doesn't merely shed light on Snyder's original intent for the story, but also gives a fuller picture of what happened behind the scenes in the DCEU during Justice League's production. This is the version of the story Ben Affleck would have signed on to portray, meaning his solo Batman movie would have been created with this ending in mind for the Caped Crusader. Looking at the timeline of Ben Affleck's departure, it's very clear it lines up with the time during Justice League's production that Snyder was clashing with Warner Brothers prior to his exit. So it's more than likely Affleck's lack of commitment to the director's chair was directly related to the fact that his Batman script was significantly impacted by decisions such as removing Darkseid, and he specifically said he wouldn't direct if he didn't like the script. Now, basically what I guess Zack Snyder was trying to do was by Justice League 2, they were going to fight Darkseid, and Batman was going to be killed, sacrificing himself trying to stop Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of why I guess they went with this older, more seasoned, grizzled Batman, and he's kind of jaded and a little bit crazy now. And
it doesn't work.
It's like, I guess their thought is, hey, we've seen Batman on screen ever since, '89 and even earlier than that with the TV shows and stuff like that, and the cartoons in the '90s and everything else. It's like everybody knows Batman, everybody knows his story. You know, this is an opportunity to tell a Batman story that we haven't seen before, at least unless you read the comics.
Right.
You know, the death of Batman by Darkseid, that is a big thing in the comics. You know, he does get killed by the Darkseid's Omega Beams or whatever, but he doesn't really technically die. He kind of gets shot into like the past, and it's this whole convoluted dumbass shit because they're never going to kill off Batman.
Right.
But anyway, this just goes to show, like, all these people like, release the Snyder cut, you know, we want to see his version of Justice League without Joss Whedon's interference and all this shit. And it's like, man, this motherfucker, all he was going to do was continue down the path of Watchmen. I feel like everything he's done since Watchmen, he just keeps trying to make the superheroes in the DC universe more like the Watchmen universe. This dark, depressing, like half of these motherfuckers have like erectile dysfunction or they're alcoholics or they're rapists and all this crazy shit. And it's like, you don't need to do that. Not everything needs to be this dark, gritty, you know, like, well, what if superheroes were real and they were just crazy and they had problems and issues and all that? It's like, you don't need to do that.
Problems.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
I got problems.
It just, I'm like, and Lord knows what Ben Affleck's The Batman movie was going to be, because they, in the universe that they had created, they had Robin was dead.
Yeah.
Batman was killing people. You know, Superman was dead. You know, destructive and you know, wasn't very responsible and not the, you know, truth, justice, and American way Superman that we've grown up with. And then they kill him off to bring him back, and then they were going to kill off Batman later, and it's like, why? Like, what are you... Like, Ben Affleck is a really big Batman fan. So much so to the point where his house that he sold to Kevin Smith, he built a fucking bat cave into the house, like with the pole and shit to slide down, like the Adam West Batman and the whole thing. If he had a Batmobile, it wouldn't fucking surprise me. Like, he loves Batman. The reason he played Daredevil back in the day was because he was like, this is the closest I'll probably ever get to playing Batman.
Right.
And then fast forward, you know, almost 20 years later, and it's like, hey, you are Batman now. And it's like, that's what you wanted to do? Like, this is what they sold you on when they were like, yeah, we want you to play Batman. And he's like, only if we get to kill him. I was like, what? No. Like, no.
Maybe he's really a Joker fan.
Oh, I hope not, because Joker ain't going to be in his Batman movie. And honestly, at this point, he ain't finna be in his Batman movie.
Bruce Wayne really had problems with alcoholism.
You know, he kind of
sort
of does in this version of him. But traditionally,
I was just saying that because of Ben Affleck.
Right. With his alcoholism, yeah, he's dealing with now.
I try to make it gritty to keep, you know, in
keeping in
Zack
tone.
Snyder's realm. Yeah.
What I would have liked to see is, if they were gonna do that, then they should have gone with the. If they were gonna kill him off, they should have did the Flashpoint shit as well. That kind of helps. It makes sense to me of why they would have did the Flashpoint movie and have Flash change the past, and then it changes the timeline, and then, you know, all the characters that we've known, they've changed and their origins are different. I mean, hell, in Flashpoint, Batman is dead.
Right.
He gets killed as a child. Like, instead of his parents getting shot and killed, Bruce dies as a child, and his dad becomes Batman, and his mom becomes the Joker.
Okay.
So I'm like, that was a cool, different little take on it. So I'm like, you know, if they were gonna kill Batman off, then I guess do that.
Right.
But
if you're not doing that, then leave him live.
Right. If they're not gonna do that, then don't even tell the Flashpoint movie, because all they're doing is just the X-Men Days of Future Past, where they're just kind of trying to retcon the whole everything that they've done up to this point. It's just, I don't know. Like, I am so glad that Zack Snyder is not directing these movies anymore. He doesn't have any shots to call in these movies anymore, because the way that the road they were going down, like, after reading this shit, it was like, good God, like, y'all didn't know what the fuck to do with these characters.
No, they're just trying to throw a pot of spaghetti to the wall, see what stuck.
Exactly. I'm like, Marvel is over there building foundations for movies for the next 10 years going forward.
I say Marvel has a fucking empire.
Yeah, at this point, off of fucking C-list characters. And I'm like, y'all got Batman, and y'all still can't get this. Oh my God.
I mean, how many movies does Thor have? 3?
Yeah. Look, you have fucked up when Thor has become more popular than Batman. Like, how did we get to this place?
Hulk has become more popular than Batman.
Okay, to be fair, the Hulk is dope. The Hulk has always been dope.
I never said he
Ferrigno is dope.
Okay. We have Hawkeye in 3 X-Men or Avengers movies.
He wasn't in Infinity War, actually.
He's
in Age of
was
Ultron in the first one. Infinity War is the third one. He's in Civil War, I think is what you're thinking.
He's in Civil War.
Yeah, so he's in 3. And he does have a cameo in the first Thor movie, too.
Yes.
So technically, he's been in 4 movies. But yeah, it's like when you got
Hawkeye, Batman.
Right. When you got people more excited for a Black Widow movie than they are a Batman movie, it's like, how did we get here, guys? Like, what?
It's all because Batman has not been portrayed well.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Batman has not been portrayed well, and we all know how I feel about Batman.
I know.
Everybody knows. Like, any of our listeners
I'm
know.
surprised you didn't, like, scream at the sky when you saw that shit. Like, he was going to do what?
Oh, God, you should have seen my expression. I had to reread it a couple of times, and I had this dumbfounded look on my face, like, what? No.
You had a Wrath of Khan moment where you screamed into the sky. I was like, Snyder!
I did. Yeah. This was the article that I sent you, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before I sent it to you, Tyler was looking at me and he's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Like... I just showed him my phone. I couldn't even say nothing. I was just like, "Eh." My phone was all up in his face, and he kind of glanced at it and he's like, "Okay," and I'm like, "Oh, forget it. I'll send it to Mike.
Right,
he'll understand. He'll understand."
So this is what they need to do, because Lord knows, like I said, what the fuck is going on with DCEU at this point. But if they're gonna scrap this shit, or no, because they can't do that because they would have killed him off. Okay, they need to just make a Batman Beyond movie. Now, I know not a lot of people like the Batman Beyond, the Terry McGinnis, Batman.
I didn't care for him, but at this point in the DCEU, this is where we're at.
Why not?
We're at the fucking Batman Beyond, and I think it could be done well, given the information that we have now.
Yes. And I'm telling you how they can make this work. I don't know the actor's name offhand, but... get the guy who was in Baby Driver, or if not him, just some other young up-and-coming actor, whoever. It doesn't really matter. That's not important. But back up a dump truck full of fucking money to Michael Keaton's house and get him to play older Batman who trains the new Batman for the Batman Beyond movie. Because he even looks like... the Batman from that show, from the cartoon. I'm like, man, he got the gray hair.
By the way.
What is his name?
Ansel Elgort.
Yeah, Ansel Elgort or some shit like that. Yeah. Get him to be Terry McGinnis, and then get Michael Keaton to come back and reprise his... you could even keep the same continuity. Like, that's still the same Batman from the 89 Batman. You could say all that shit happened, and it's the future now, and he has a new, like, souped up, super bat suit. And this kid finds it, and he takes on the mantle of the new Batman, and, Michael Keaton trains him how to be Batman. Like,
there you go. I dig it.
That's the only way I can see them making this make sense going forward, because honestly, at this point, they've pretty much run out of ideas for how to make Batman relevant anymore. I mean, to the point where I think they're just rebooting them again with this new Batman movie, because I'm almost positive Ben Affleck's not going to be in this.
I'll say the kid that plays MacGyver on the new series, he'd be all right too. Joe Alwyn.
Isn't he in X-Men First Class?
Oh yeah, he is.
He's the dude that he's Cyclops' brother or dad or some shit and whatever in this continuity. He's the one that shoots the beam out of his chest. Yeah, sure, him too. Fuck it.
They won't lend him over from Marvel.
No.
Especially not now that they've acquired Fox.
Well, shit, they finna wipe away all that shit anyway. But anyway, see, this is what y'all fucking get. This is what you could have gotten, kids. For all you Zack Snyder apologists, this is where we were going with this shit. Darkseid was going to show up and kill Batman, and then we were going to be done with that character. So I guess be glad that this shit didn't happen, because that's where this bullshit was going. And I'm just like, guys, like, get this shit together over there. Like, I just want to go into the offices of Warner Brothers and be like, oh, y'all motherfuckers fired. Everybody got to go. We starting from scratch. Buy everybody out of their contract. I'm sorry, Gal Gadot, you are a great Wonder Woman, but we got to wipe the slate clean and start over. We got to start from the ground up and get all this shit. And then make that goddamn Batman Beyond movie. I'm telling you, get Michael Keaton.
I'll say they could keep Gal Gadot. She'd be like the only one still left.
It wouldn't make sense, though. Because then it's like, what happened to Aquaman? And what happened to Cyborg? And what happened to The Flash? And what happened? They've brought too many characters in at this point.
That's true.
Unless you're just going to throw her into a fucking time vortex or something and pop her out somewhere else and be like, oh, I'm the only surviving member of the original Justice League. I'm still here. These people actually liked my movie, so. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so for this last thing, I wanted to do something a little bit different this week.
Okay.
No one died. We're not going to talk about anybody being fondled and or molested. And
well, hell,
I know, right? I know.
What did Ice Cube say? It was a good day.
Right. No, I specifically wanted to do this because there's a lot of movies coming out in October, and I was kind of sleeping on a few of these movies. Some of these are good, or okay, some of these look good. Some of these look bad. Really fucking bad. Now,
yes.
I had like made a list, and I'm gonna kind of bounce around some of these or skip over some of these because obviously we're not going to talk about Venom because we've talked about that movie enough. Plus, we're going to be doing a review of that movie next week.
Yeah.
So we're like, you'll get your Venom talk next week. Just calm down.
Can I just do a small sidebar? Did you see the commercial for the Venom trailer?
Yeah, the ESPN commercial
where they're playing the song. We were watching the Michigan game, and I saw it, and I thought of you. I was like, I bet Mike's shitting in his pants.
No.
Over this damn
I'm shitting on that song, but yeah. No.
Yeah. Anyways.
The first one that we got coming out in October is on October 5th, A Star is Born. Now, I'll give you a little brief synopsis. It says, seasoned musician Jackson Maine discovers and falls in love with struggling artist Allie. She has just about given up on her dream to make it big as a singer until Jackson coaxes her into the spotlight. But even as Allie's career takes off, the personal side of their relationship is breaking down as Jackson fights an ongoing battle with his own internal demons. Now, Benoit, I know that you know a bit more about this than I do, because this is a remake, right?
Yeah, this is a remake of a film starring Barbra Streisand.
Okay. Now have you seen the original?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but no, not the full thing.
Okay, because I'm like, I don't know anything about this story at all besides just from what they showed in the trailer. And I was like, this actually looks pretty good. Like, I'm actually interested in the story that they're going to tell. Now, from what you do know about the original, does this seem like they're just remaking it, or did they kind of change the story for like a modern audience?
I mean, just from... I really can't answer that just from the trailer, but it seems, I would guess, it's going to be the same basic premise with a modern feel to it.
Okay.
I mean, actually, now to think about it.
Sure.
Because this was like something I would have seen with my mother just randomly like walking in and out. I think, because in the trailer, Bradley Cooper is a country musician who meets Lady Gaga. I think, as opposed to it being like purely about music, I think it's about acting in the original and not, it's about film as opposed to music. If I remember right, I could be 100% wrong. I probably shouldn't be talking about this like I know what I'm talking about if I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think I know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking wrong. I don't know. Because I'm thinking... Because like history and things like this, I got a little more knowledge of. So I'm starting to think maybe the original wasn't Maybe it goes deeper. Maybe the Barbra Streisand version was a remake of the original. I'm trying to. Yeah, it is. Okay. Because I think Judy Garland was in the original in the 50s. It was about Hollywood. The remake had Barbra Streisand in the 70s, and it was about music.
Oh,
so I think this is a remake of the remake.
Oh, so it's Scarface.
I think. Because it was Barbra Streisand and the dude who looks like he's a country singer, but he isn't a country singer, but he is. The dude with the two first names, the Chris guy. Chris Christopherson?
Yeah, Chris Christopherson, yeah.
Yes. And I think Judy Garland was in the original in the 50s with like Fred Astaire. No, it wasn't Fred Astaire. It was somebody. Anyway, this is a remake of a remake. That's the point I'm trying to get to. It took me 10 minutes to get to it. I'm sorry.
I'm interested in this for two reasons. One, because I love how versatile Bradley Cooper is as an actor, because if I didn't know that was him doing the voice of Rocket Raccoon, I would never have guessed that he plays Rocket. And then in this, in that American Sniper movie, he has like this kind of weird accent thing going on.
Oh yeah, he does.
And then in this, he kind of has that,
weird
like,
country accent.
Yeah. He's like, turn around. I just want to get a look at you. Okay, that was terrible, but still,
I liked it. I liked that little accent that he had in American Sniper. That was
But I'm like,
sexy.
and he actually is a pretty good singer too.
Yeah,
like I don't know if they redubbed his singing parts, but from what they showed in the trailer, he's actually pretty good. I was like, okay, and he's directing this too, actually.
Yeah, I saw that. When I saw the trailer, I looked at it and I was like, acting, directing. He tends to do that quite often.
He said, "Now that I got that Marvel money, I can go make my own movies."
Right.
I can do. I can tell.
This is Toby's not the next Tyler Perry.
Oh God, no! Don't. Like,
acting, starring, directing, produced by,
written by
Tyler Perry plays Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry's Tyler Perry.
Right.
A film by Tyler Perry.
Boo, Madea
Produced by
Halloween
Tyler.
3.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like the message of this too, because like there's a line in the trailer where Lady Gaga's character, Allie, she says, she's like, he's like, oh, well, do you write your own songs and stuff like that? And she was like, well, everybody who's ever heard me sing, they said they like the way I sound, but they just don't like the way I look. And I was just like, I like this. I like the message that they're putting in this, where he's like, like, hey, like, I think you're beautiful and this, that, and the other, and you have a beautiful voice, and, it needs to be heard, and you don't need to be ashamed and afraid. Initially, when I first heard that this was coming out, I didn't really have any interest in it, but after watching the trailer for it and like researching it for this, I was like, this actually looks really good. Like, I like this. Like, I want to see this movie. But all right, next up, we have coming out on October 12th is Bad Times at the El Royale. Now, Benoit, he put me onto this one. Quick synopsis is 7 strangers, each with a secret to bury, meet at a rundown hotel in Lake Tahoe in 1960s California. Over the course of a fateful night, they all get one last shot at redemption before everything goes wrong. Now, this reminded me a lot of... Do you guys remember the movie Smokin' Aces?
No.
It had Ryan Reynolds in it.
Somewhat, yes.
And a bunch of other people, where they all meet up at this casino, and they're trying to get some money or some shit. There's a whole bunch of big name actors in it, and it's this big ensemble piece, and there's all kind of crazy action and shit. Chris Pine's in it, and a bunch of other people. It's actually a good movie. Common and a bunch of other people, and Jeremy Piven.
And a bunch of other people.
Yeah. I'm not gonna keep just going down a cast list of who's in Smoking.
You're not ringing any bells.
That they are all assassins.
Yeah. They're all assassins, and they're all trying to kill Jeremy Piven's character because he's like he stole some money from some mob dude or something like that.
Sounds about
right. And he's
right.
got a hit out on him, and they all converge on this one hotel in Vegas to kill him, and it's just this crazy shit that happens. Like it feels a lot like that movie. This particular one, it has Jeff Bridges, the dude. Chris Hemsworth is in it.
Okay.
The chick from 50 Shades of Grey, isn't it? Dakota Johnson, I think is her name, and a few other people. But the trailer is really vague about what's happening. but they all have some kind of secret. Like they're not being totally honest about who they are or why they are there. And it looks like Chris Hemsworth might actually be playing the villain in this, which I was like, that'll be an interesting turn for him.
Yeah, because he doesn't typically. He's usually the
right,
hero of the story, the good guy.
He's the dashing, good-looking, funny guy, But he looks like he's gonna have a villain turn in this. Jeff Bridges is playing a priest in the movie, but he's not really a priest apparently. And it just looks like, a bunch of interesting characters that are gonna be meeting up at this one place who all have their own agendas, and then all hell breaks loose, and then it's kind of like one of those survive the night movies,
right.
where the last man standing type shit. And I'm like, it has an interesting premise, and I'm like, this could be good. Like, I don't know, Benoit, like you were the one that turned me on to this. Like what about this has you interested? Because this was one of the ones that you said from earlier, to quote what you said earlier, like, you don't go to theaters a whole lot, but this one was one that you said you wanted to go see.
Absolutely, I want to go see this. It comes across a lot like Clue or any other murder mystery in which you have a bunch of different people seemingly from different backgrounds or all together brought to some location for unknown reasons. It reminds me a bit of like The Cube or Clue or something along those lines. And what really caught me as interesting was that Jeff Bridges' character plays a guy named Flynn.
What?
So okay.
What?
So I'm like, okay,
like we're
going Tron now.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, Flynn lives. Flynn lives.
Yes.
So if Daft Punk does the soundtrack to this, I'm sold. I'm all over this shit. Yeah, Drew Goddard, I'm pretty sure is writing and directing this, and he did Cabin in the Woods, if you've seen that one.
Yes, that was a good
that's
movie.
a really good
I like
movie
that movie
too. He's gonna be doing this, and he's a good person where he takes like tropes that you normally see in movies, and he kind of turns them on their head, because all these characters look like caricatures. They're like archetype characters, but I have a feeling he's gonna do something different with them, like kind of subvert your expectations and just play with your preconceived notions of how this movie is going to play out. Like I'm really interested to see what they do with this.
It looked interesting.
Yeah, so I'm excited for it. Now, this one, the next one we got is going to be, this also comes out on October 12th. First Man. Now, First Man is the riveting story of NASA's mission to land a man on the moon, focusing on Neil Armstrong in the years 1960 through 1969, a visceral first-person account based on the book by James R. Hansen. The movie will explore the sacrifices and the cost on Armstrong and on the nation of one of the most dangerous missions in history.
Now, see, this is one I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I've always liked space.
Sure. And I'm sure Ryan Gosling in it also helps.
He doesn't really do anything for me, but
what?
Yeah.
Them abs though.
Yeah. he doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
I've tried multiple times and it's just like, meh. But anyways, I've really been always interested in space. Always said I'd never want to go.
Oh, sure.
But the stuff like space exploration and stuff like that, real space exploration,
sure.
not
not Interstellar?
Not Interstellar, aliens and shit.
Sure.
No, real space for science.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interested me, and this being about Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
I mean, big interest. I actually saw a preview for some documentary that they got showing at the AMC theaters, and I was like, "Oh, I want to see that." And Tyler looked up at it, and he flashed the name of the documentary, and he's like, "You want to go see a documentary?" I was like, "No, I thought that was the new space movie with the Neil Armstrong guy." And he's like, okay.
He's like, "Nope, not really." There has been a big controversy around this movie because apparently the movie ain't even came out yet, but I think it got shown at some kind of film festival or something recently.
Okay.
And there's a big controversy around it because they don't have a scene where he plants the flag on the moon, And I'm like, guys, seriously, like, come the fuck on. Like,
the movie's not out yet.
Well, I mean, like I said, they saw it, you know, and I'm like, they're not going to go reshoot and put, you know, him planting a flag on the moon and all this shit. It's like, it's whatever. That don't bother me.
Yeah, the controversy is because he didn't do it, it's somehow anti-American.
Yes, basically, yeah.
Like it's intentionally making a political
exactly
statement.
right. Like this is their version of kneeling for the national anthem, I guess, is what people are taking this as because they're not putting a flag in it. And I'm like, the movie's not
over it.
The movie is about, you know, America and what we were going through at the time and stuff like that, but you could make the same argument of, it's like, well, they don't have the civil rights movement in this movie, and Martin Luther King ain't showing up, and it's just like, well, it's not about that. Like, it's about the story of the first man on the moon. Like, it's a story about him, his life, his family, all the trials and tribulations he had to go through, the training and shit, because they had never done anything like this before.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of failed missions before and after this. So it's like, I feel like people just want to politicize everything, and they want to just get mad at something.
Absolutely everything.
It's called outrage culture. I mean,
you know the moon landing was fake, the earth is flat, and Ryan Gosling needs to eat his fucking cereal.
Dude, I was just about to bring up, I was like, so all you know, we never landed on the moon people and shit out there, which we did a whole conspiracy theory episode. I might have talked about that one.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily buy into it, but I do think it's interesting. But yeah, there's going to be all kind of people like, oh, see, this wasn't accurate if they really went to the moon.
If you guys could see how hard I just rolled my eyes. Like,
it's like, come on with this bullshit, y'all.
I can't do it because your microphone's standing.
Yeah, right.
It is.
But I mean, I want to see this. I'm not necessarily going to go to theaters and see it, but I mean, I do want to watch this, though, because I am interested in that story and how they got there, like the technological advancements they had to make and the training that they had to go through, you know, simulating space and what it would be like on the moon. Like, I am interested to see this movie, so I definitely want to see it, just not necessarily theater want to see it.
Oh yeah, it's not an opening night kind of thing.
No, hell no. The next one I don't have a whole lot to say about, but I thought I'd throw it in there just in case one of you guys had seen it. Also coming out on October 12th is Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween.
I did actually see this trailer before I knew that we were talking about it.
So, synopsis here is: two boys face an onslaught from witches, monsters, ghouls, and a talking dummy after they discover a mysterious book by author R.L. Stine.
From the trailer, it kind of felt like they redid the first one that they had.
See, I didn't see the first one, so
I mean, it was...
All I know is Jack Black's not in this one. I was like, what the hell happened to him?
What?
Yeah, he's not in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it now.
I was going to say, that would be the only thing.
Like, I was excited because Jack Black was coming back, and, you know, he just did the House with the Clock in the Walls.
Yeah. No, see, he got that House in the Clock in the Walls money.
I actually thought that was Goosebumps, too, when I saw the trailer. But no, he's a wizard in that one, not an author.
Hey, I mean,
but anyway, I don't know. They kind of redid the first one. They have R.L. Stine's books, and the kid opens it and lets all the monsters out, and all the same monsters that seem to be in this trailer in this one, including that damn dummy, and then they got to put it all back in the book. That was how the premise of the first one went.
Yeah.
It's good for what it is. It's a family-friendly, Halloween-ish movie.
Sure, yeah. There's
and
monsters and
PG.
werewolves and shit. Yeah, you can say Halloween. That's fine.
Well,
she's like ish, I guess.
Ish.
If you consider this bullshit spooky.
But that's all it is, and
it looks very empty.
Yeah,
it's like popcorn. It's like, you know, it tastes good, but there's no, like, you know, caloric content that's good for you. It's like,
there's no nutritional value at all.
Exactly. It's just
there.
It's there.
I think that's what this is going to be. And now that I know that Jack Black's not going to be in it,
yeah, now I'm really just
I probably won't even see this one. I don't think Tyler's even seen the first one, which I'm not sure how I saw it and he didn't, but
he's like, I'm going to sleep. Fuck this shit. You can watch this bullshit.
No, I probably watched it while I was babysitting somebody's kids.
Sure.
Because, like I said, it's a family-friendly.
Mm-hmm. look, you would have somebody kids watching Deadpool, so I
not other people's kids, just my own.
Oh, okay.
I can't take liberties with other people's kids. If my kids are destined to say fuck anyways, so
fuck it, right?
Right.
Okay, so for the next one, October 19th. This one I knew absolutely nothing about, and I watched a trailer to it last night. It looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Mid-90s.
Yes.
It is in 1990s Los Angeles. A 13-year-old Stevie spends his summer navigating between a troubled home life and a group of new friends that he meets at a Motor Avenue skate shop. It's written and directed by Jonah Hill, of all people, and I'm just like, okay, like, I see you, Jonah. Like, between Danny McBride producing the Halloween movie and Jonah Hill writing and directing this, I was like, y'all are really stepping out of y'all comfort zones and doing some interesting shit that I would have never pegged you for. Like, it's okay. Have either one of you ever seen the movie Kids?
No, never even heard of it.
Oh, that film.
Yeah, okay, you know what I'm talking about? It feels a lot like that movie, where it's kind of like this. It's not an aimless story per se, but it's just kind of like a character study and a look at like this type of culture at that time and like what life was like, you know, in the mid-90s and like, you know, skateboarding culture, and this kid, he, you know, kind of finding his own, like him and his brother don't get along, and he kind of gets in with this group of like, you know, like rebellious skateboarding kids, and they kind of become his surrogate family, and he's starting to become more out of control, and he's getting into parties and drinking and all this shit because he wants to be like them. And his older brother is like afraid of these kids and shit, you know, because his brother was always like, you know, the big scary person in his life, and now that he's with these kids and shit, he doesn't see him the same way, and you know, their relationship starts to go through even more problems. Like, this looks really good. Like, this could almost be like a documentary almost.
Oh yeah, I got that feel from it too.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, like this.
Are we thinking of the same film?
Why?
I could have swore Kids was about like teenagers that have sex and STDs and stuff.
Yeah, that is, yes. That. Well, I was more so describing this movie. But no, it just made me get the same feel of Kids, because yes, there's the sex and STDs, but that's kind of like the thing at the end. Like, the whole movie isn't about that. The movie's basically just about a look into the life of these teenagers who are off partying and getting fucked up and all this shit. And it's like, you know, you kind of the underbelly of that white middle America, you know, middle class lifestyle, where it's like, this is the kind of shit that your kids are off doing when you're not around and shit, because they were pretty well off. There was a couple kids in that movie who lived kind of shitty lives, but for the most part, they were pretty well off, but were still getting into some pretty hardcore dark shit. That's more so what I mean, not the skateboarding and all that shit. But no, I'm good on you, Jonah Hill, for doing something that's outside of the norm, and for this to be, I think, his directorial debut. I don't think he's made anything else besides this. Either. I was like, this is a good move. Like, I could totally see him getting like award like buzz and shit. I don't know if he'd actually win anything, but I could see them
at least a nomination.
Right, nominating him for something for this, you know, like maybe best director or some shit, if the movie turns out good. But from what I've seen, I was like, I would totally watch this. Like, I'm down for this.
Might be a theater adventure.
Sure. I'd see it. I mean, as low budget as it seems, though, it's probably going to be like in select theaters and shit, you know, like, but still, hey, if it comes to one near us, I'd go see it. I'm down for this one.
We've only got 6 to choose from.
Right, pretty much. But this next movie is The Hate U Give. Now, this one also comes out October 19th. Star Carter is constantly switching between two worlds: the poor, mostly black neighborhood where she lives and the wealthy, mostly white prep school that she attends. The uneasy balance between these worlds is soon shattered when she witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood best friend at the hands of a police officer. Facing pressure from all sides of the community, Star must find her voice and decide to stand up for what's right. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, this is going to be a message movie. This is going to be a Black Lives Matter message, progressive, political. So if you don't like this kind of shit, you're probably going to skip this movie. But from what I saw in the trailer, it looks powerful. Like I'm really interested to see. It's kind of like, how to describe it? It feels like Dear White People meets Fruitvale Station. Now, I don't know if you've seen either one of those, but Fruitvale Station is the first movie Michael B. Jordan did with Ryan Coogler before they did Creed and Black Panther.
Right.
Fruitvale Station is the story about that. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there was this YouTube video a few years ago of these guys who had gotten into some kind of fight or something on a subway in New York, or was it Philadelphia, something like that. And the cop shoots the kid while they have him handcuffed on the ground, face down on the ground, and he was like, I was trying to reach for my taser, but there was commotion or something, and I pulled out my gun and shot him in the middle of the subway. And
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, there was like, now this was back before Black Lives Matter and all this shit, and like before we were seeing police shootings like every other fucking day on the news, but they killed him in front of like dozens of fucking people on the subway, and it was all over YouTube and all this shit, and it was this big controversy, and they made a movie about it. And so it feels like Dear White People meets that movie, because she goes to like this white preparatory school, and she's this black girl from the ghetto. And in the trailer, she talks about how the perception of her to these, the life that she lives at home, she has to pretend she's not that way when she's at her school to be around the other kids and not stand out as the ghetto girl and shit like that. But then when her best friend gets killed by a cop, over some silly shit. Like, it looks like there is one thing in it that kind of bothered me. They get pulled over by the cops. He makes the boy get out of the car.
Yep.
And he's trying to be all cool and flirt with her and shit. And the cop, he's going back to his car to go run their plates or some shit. And he has his hands like on the window seal of the car. And he starts to reach into the car, and she's like, don't move, don't do nothing, don't give him no reason to start tripping, this, that, and the other. And he picks up his hairbrush and goes to start like brushing his hair, and the cop thinks that he has a gun and kills him. Now, that bothered me, because I'm like, if that's going to be the catalyst for what sets off the events that happens later in the movie, that I kind of call bullshit on that one. Because I'm like, in real life, when these things happen, they misconstrue a lot of shit of, I was reaching for my wallet, I was getting my ID, I was getting some out of the glove box, identification, insurance, some shit like that. No black man in 2018 is going to reach in his fucking car for a goddamn hairbrush after he got pulled over by the cop. I don't care how much you trying to impress this bitch to get some pussy. No one is going to do that shit. No. So that was the one thing in the trailer that really bothered me. And I was just like, like, I get what you guys are trying to convey in this, but if this is how you're going to convey it, I'm not totally sold on that. That kind of
you didn't do it well.
Yes.
So you think his naivety is unrealistic?
Exactly. Yes, because I'm like, between Trayvon Martin and Philando Castile and all these other people who've been shot and killed.
I say, ain't nobody moving for nothing.
Yeah, man. Especially some silly shit like that. Like, come on, man. Like, I almost was like, you kind of had that coming.
No. I think that's the point they're going for.
What?
Though. The fact that this kid thought that he didn't have to worry about it given his color, and he did.
Yeah.
I think that's the point they're going to go for, in which case I'm 100% for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just rubs me as naive to the point of, it's like they're just making him unrealistically naive for the sake of telling the story. Because like I said, it'd be one thing if he was like reaching for something important, but to be trying to get your brush out and try and impress this girl, like, yeah, girl, I ain't tripping about these cops, I'm finna comb my hair.
But that's the point. Just as a young black kid, just doing something innocuous is going to get yourself popped. I think that's the point. I don't think it really deters me from buying into the catalyst for the message this movie is going to give. If anything, I think it makes it more realistic. You take some kid who doesn't understand just what he does could end up getting him killed, and his girlfriend or the girl he's trying to court does, and as she tries to warn him, he hands it up and gets killed. Like, I think it justifies It justifies the fear that black people have when being in this situation, at the same time while proving that there's a reasonable reason. There's a reason for having this fear to begin with, i.e., all he did was have a black brush.
Okay,
but I mean, until we see how it plays out in the film fully, we can't judge it. But I mean, a cop pulls a guy over. The cop car is, I don't know, 10, 15 feet away. Not even 15, maybe 10 feet away, maybe. Because they normally pull you over pretty close. So, like, you're telling me from being that close to a kid with a brush in his hand, you automatically make the distinction it's a gun and shoot.
That's...
Like, you can't... But then again, I'm speculating. I haven't seen the film, so I don't know. But I mean, just... At face value, I completely disagree with the point you were trying to make in watching the trailer.
I can see the argument that you're making, and like I said, and like you said, and until we see the movie, you know, we're just kind of speculating at this point. I mean, maybe when we see the events that lead up to him getting shot and how exactly it plays out and the fallout from that, you know, it might make a little bit more sense. But just from the little tidbit that they showed me in the trailer, I was like, man... Like, you kind of was, like, putting yourself in unnecessary risk for no real reason.
Right.
I mean, because even if, in my mind, even if he was a white dude and a cop is like, put your hands on the car and stay here until I get back. If you start reaching in there for anything that's not related to something that's going to help you in this situation... It's like, why are you trying to be cool
Honestly,
and shit?
if you start moving at all.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, I'm not trying to by no means justify, police overreactions and the societal fear that some white people have for people of color and shit. Like, I'm not trying to make a case for that per se, but like I said, just in the time that we live in, unless this movie takes place in like I can't even think of a decade where somebody would have thought like, yeah, this will be fine. Yeah, this will be a good idea. But just right now, especially, I'm like, man, you can't be doing that kind of silly shit. Especially to, like I said, because it wasn't a thing of like, he was doing something where you would be legitimately outraged. Like, oh my God, he was just doing what you told him to do. He was getting his ID and all this other shit, like what happens in real life. Whereas it's just like, oh no, I'm just trying to be cool. And it's just like, man, come the fuck on, man. Like, you don't, I don't know. It made me more, I'm not going to lie, it made me more mad at him than anything else. Because I was like, what are you fucking doing? I'm like, look, as a black person, you have to know, you can't give these motherfuckers no reason to even think that you doing some shit that's going to get them on edge to want to shoot you. Don't give them no reason whatsoever. It's fucked up that you have to have that mindset. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know what the fuck was even going through his head, because like I said, in the trailer, she is like pleading with him, like, stop, do not do that, stop fucking moving, like this shit ain't cute, it ain't funny, and blah, he just blasts his ass. And it's just like, man, he was like, well, you hear the cop say, it's like, I said don't move, this, that, the other, and then he shoots him. And it was just like, well, yeah, at that point, man, like, she was like crying, like, stop, don't do this.
Well,
and he
still,
she
knew.
Yes, and it's like,
knew.
She goes to a white preparatory school and you live in the hood. Like, you can't tell me that I don't know. Like I said, when the movie comes out, I'll have a better idea of what happened, and maybe the context will be different and I'll feel better about it. But right now, as it stands, from what I've seen in the trailer, I was like, dude, you can't be doing that kind of
shit. Don't be tempting
shit.
fate.
Thank you.
No, but that is the dichotomy between the two characters. Him with his own negligent, willing to give the benefit of the doubt to the police and not do something stupid, so he's trying to act cool to impress this girl who has already been established in the trailer just a few moments earlier. She lives like a double life, and that she lives in the ghetto, and in the ghetto she has to be like somebody who lives from the ghetto, whereas she cannot bring her home life into her prep school because those are two different locations. Like, there's already a big separation in the personalities of those two people.
That's fair.
Oh my God, I could talk all night about this shit. We got
That's fair. But okay. So the very last one I wanted to talk about is this movie comes out on October 26th. It is Airstrike. Now, the synopsis for this one is: during World War II, 5 Chinese people fight their way through Japanese air attacks to protect a military machine. Now, the synopsis does not give you the whole story,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis is in this movie. Bruce Willis plays some kind of like Air Force general or whatever. I don't know.
Colonel or something.
Yeah, what the hierarchy is in the Air Force or whatever. But he's basically training these Chinese fighters to. It's during World War II,
right?
And he's training them how to fight the Japanese, and because they have superior airmen and they're getting their asses kicked, and he's there to train them how to fight better on behalf of the U.S. And this. It looks so bad on so many levels.
I'm not the only one that thought so.
Yes, so bad. The special effects don't look all that good. I mean, it's whatever on that front. It's not okay. They tried to make it. They tried to take it from like it starts off and it makes it feel like, oh, they're making like a Saving Private Ryan. But then it turns into like Fast and Furious or fucking like Top Gun about halfway through the trailer. There's a part where it looked kind of cool. One of the plane's wings get shot and it like starts to crash on top of another plane. And like one of the Chinese fighter pilots, he like ejects from his seat and does like a fucking like backflip like out of it. Not like, the parachute pulls him out and all this shit. It looks like he did some Fast and Furious type, ejecting from the car and flipping in the air and all this shit. And I was just like, is this supposed to be, are we supposed to be taking this serious as a period piece right now? And I'm sorry, poor Bruce Willis. Like, he is hamming it up so much in this movie. Like, honestly, besides, wow, what's the movie that's coming out? The M. Night Shyamalan movie that we want to see.
Oh, the new one, Unbreakable and Things
Glass,
Together.
Glass, that one.
Glass.
That one, yeah.
Glass. Yes.
He actually looks like he's trying in that one, but Bruce Willis has been phoning it in for like the last like 5-6 years of his career. Like if you've ever seen Red or like the most recent Die Hard movie or anything else, like he's just phoning that shit and he's just like, give me my fucking paycheck. Or Cop Out, if you ever saw that bullshit. Oh, God.
The one where he goes on a killing spree, that one was pretty good.
Killing spree.
They come in and they kill his family.
Looper.
No.
The time travel one? Oh, no. I know what you're talking about. It's the remake of that Charles Bronson
Death
movie.
Wish.
Yeah,
Death
Wish.
Wish.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
That was
Death
pretty
Wish.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, the remake of the old Charles Bronson films.
No,
he's like the vigilante killer guy.
Yeah. I do like him in Looper. I haven't seen Death Wish though. But he just looks like he's just hamming it up in this shit, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like I'll just do. There's so many parts in the trailer where he's like, whoa, yeah, he's like clapping and shit, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like this is supposed to be like a gritty war movie, and then he's like hooping and hollering and shit. I'm pretty sure he said yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, at some point in the trailer. I was just like, man, Bruce, oh God. I just feel bad because he's always going to have a special place in my heart because of the Die Hard movies. Like, sure. I'm always going to love Bruce Willis. But I'm just like, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like at some point actors should just stop doing shit. It's just like, man, because you just need a paycheck at this point. Like, somebody just give him his royalties from whatever shit he's done and stop dragging him into these fucking movies. Because I'm pretty sure this is one of those Chinese-funded Hollywood movies, kind of like The Great Wall with Matt Damon and a few other movies.
That one was not very good.
No, fuck no. I saw the trailer and I was like, this is some Matt Damon with a ponytail fighting dragons on the Great Wall of China. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
We saw the trailer and it looked okay, and then we went and saw that movie and I'm like,
oh, you went to see that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, fuck.
Like the last day that it was playing. I was like, oh, hey, we're here. We need to kill some time before something, so let's go watch this movie. It's bad. Oh God, it was bad.
No, but this feels like a Chinese fun. I'm pretty sure one of the production companies is a Chinese company, and it was funny. I was watching this YouTube video last night where they were talking about one like secrets of Hollywood and shit like that, and they were saying like, sometimes budgets of movies get overinflated because the mafia uses it to launder or to wash their money and shit. And I was like, yeah, I feel like some Chinese mob like funded this movie and was like, hey, we need to launder some money, so here, we're just gonna fund this bullshit and put this out. Like,
they just put their name on it, Triad.
right.
It makes so much sense now.
Right, exactly. Man, I almost want to do this as like a drunk review. Like once this comes out on like Netflix or DVD or some shit, like I want to do just like a drunk review of a movie one day. Because I swear, like I always see people do like drunk reviews and stuff, and I'm like, man, that would be so fun to do one time. I don't know how I would maintain recording and all this shit. I probably wouldn't even record the damn episodes. I'd be too fucking smashed to do it.
You just have to
maybe a buzzed review, and not a drunk review.
You just have to hit record and just let it go.
Yeah,
like you couldn't be. We couldn't have show notes. We couldn't be switching back and forth between the pages like we do. It's just going to be you, me, and Ben, and we talk. And
right.
That's...
Ain't me. I don't drink no more. I want no part of this.
But I'm just like, man, poor Bruce Willis. Like, don't keep signing up for this. God. You know, and plus too, I can't support these, like, not trying to be like racist or no shit like that, but it's like I can't support these like Chinese funded movies because because China is so fucked up with the way they like restrict information to people, and like the working conditions of a lot of people in that country, and like a lot of places are in famine and drought and shit, and there's it's fucked up. So when I see this kind of shit, it's like, man, I can't co-sign this shit. I can't financially support these kind of movies because the way your government treats people. I mean, to the point where they censor the internet and all that kind of shit. It's like, I can't co-sign that shit. And I feel like back during 2001 after 9/11 happened and like all those commercials that would come out and they're like, if you're buying pot, you're supporting the terrorists and shit. like that's kind of what I feel like with this kind of shit. Like if you pay to go see this shit, you're supporting, communist, oppression and just Chinese propaganda trying to boost up their country to make it seem like, oh, we're not bad. It's all good. Not so bad once you get to know me. It's like, nah, I'm good. But yeah, I there's a few of these little hidden gems that are coming out in October that I was like, I want to try to start going to see more shit. Like between work and doing this and just life in general, it's hard for me to get to the theaters as much as I would like to.
Sure.
Especially to get all of us together to try and go see something as well.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a few hidden gems on here where I was like, man, I didn't even hear anything about this. Like I should definitely go see this movie. So there's a few of these that I definitely want to go see. We definitely got to go see The Hate U Give at some point because we got to do a review of that for sure because I definitely want to talk about that one. Like I said, maybe when I see the movie in full, I'll change my mind on the circumstances that led up to the, big plot point of the movie. But yeah, like there's a few of these where I'm just like, yeah. And I did, and Ben sold me, after seeing that trailer and him telling me about it, sold me on what is it, Bad Times at the El Royale. I was like, that looks good. Like I want to see it. Plus, Chris Hemsworth is starting to quickly becoming one of my favorite actors. Like that Men in Black movie that they're making, I'm like, I definitely want to see this.
Hell yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, because now that he's leaning more into his comedic chops, I'm like, because he's always been like the handsome, leading man action hero type shit, but he's actually really fucking funny too. So I'm like, yeah, he okay.
Oh God, where are you about to go with this?
Not really, but he's kind of like becoming like the new Will Smith. Where he's like, he can do both, where he can do the comedy and shit like that, but he can still turn it on and do the drama and the action shit.
All right.
He's the only person I can compare it to, because I wanted to say Eddie Murphy, but Eddie Murphy didn't do a lot of dramas.
No.
He did some, but almost everything he
well.
was in was mostly comedic.
Yeah.
Like even help me out here, Ben. What's that movie with him and Richard Pryor and Red Fox, and it takes place in like the Prohibition era?
Life.
No.
Red Fox wasn't in that. He was already
Harlem Nights. Yes. That one was kind of a serious movie, but there was a lot of comedic shit in that too. Like he was kind of trying to.
I forgot about that movie.
I love that movie. Harlem Nights and Coming to America.
Coming to America is a good one.
Favorite Eddie Murphy movies.
Trading Places.
Coming to America. Wait, no,
no, not quite. Good callback though. But yeah. Anything else about any of the ones that we talked about? I mean. Thoughts overall, anything?
No, I mean, like you said, there's a couple of good ones that have the potential that are possibly worth, spending the $19 to go to the theaters for.
Right. Right, for the low price of $19.99, you too can come see Airstrike or whatever the fuck this horse shit is.
There's a couple of them where I'm just like, not wasting my money, and then there's some that I'm like, yeah, you're lucky if I watch you on Netflix.
Right. It's like if I'm at the bar and this is playing, I'm like, can we turn it to sports or just anything else, please? Jesus. But yeah, that is it for the show, guys. Remember, you can always find us at our home at onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com or on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Make sure to show us some love, so go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you just want to say hi, you can always email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks. We're on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram. All you have to do is search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.